37-year-old homemaker Michelle Kelly is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old construction worker Jason Watwood, for an unpaid loan and for an assault. Michelle claims Jason knocked out her tooth.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 104 on the calendar in the matter of Kelly versus Watwood. Has it been sworn in? Judge, you may be seated.
Thanks,
Young
Bert.
man, have a seat. You're welcome, Judge.
Ms. Kelly, the defendant was a former boyfriend of yours. According to your complaint, he owes you for two things: a loan that you made to him while you were dating in the amount of $1,200 to fix his truck, and then is your claim that he assaulted you sometime afterwards, causing you to lose a front tooth. You wanted to pay for the dental work.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When were you dating the defendant? What month and year?
Jason and I met in like the end of February of last year,
When did he move in with you?
about 3 months after we met.
And when was this loan made?
It was in December.
Tell me the circumstances of the loan.
Jason bought a 69 Chevrolet pickup truck. At that point, we broke up, and we got back together, and he had the truck for like a month, and the truck broke down on him.
When you say you broke up, did he move out of your house?
Yes, ma'am. He moved
Well,
out.
when did he move out? Moved in May of 2000.
Right, and we lived together about 6 months. And then he moved out, which Jason was always coming and going and living with me, between me and his mother. And so during this time that he buys his truck, we're getting back together, and he's starting a new job, and the truck breaks down on him. I'm having to take Jason back and forth to work. Well, during this time, he puts the truck in the shop, and he was asking me if I would loan him the money and that he would pay me back.
And he was not living with you at the time?
Yeah, in December, yes, ma'am, he was living
He
with me.
was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, there came a time when you claimed he assaulted you. When was that?
That was in the end of December, 1st of January. Jason and I started talking about him not paying me back any of the money. And he had been drinking, and he became very violent and was very upset with me, and said that he had been giving me, money for living in the house, which I'm not denying the fact that Jason would give me $100, $150 every paycheck, but it did not consist of anything concerning the amount of money that I loaned him for the truck.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, like I said, he was, very upset with me. He had been drinking. He threw me down in the kitchen floor, and I have hardwood floors through my downstairs, and I hit my mouth, which my son is here as a witness of that. And once I broke away from that situation with Jason, I ran into the living room. That's when my son appeared in the living room. He also was on Jason, trying to help me get Jason off of me. And when I finally was away from him, of course, my mouth was bleeding, and I go to the restroom, and my tooth had been knocked out.
Can I see the bill from the dentist for that?
Yes, ma'am. I also have a letter from the dentist.
Did you file a police report?
No, ma'am, I did not. I'd had Jason arrested before for assault, and went to court and helped him get out of that like a fool, but I did.
When was that?
That was back in probably August.
And then you took him back into your house?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Your Honor, I didn't voluntarily move in with Michelle. She had asked me several times to move in with her. I stayed with her a good bit, but I didn't want to move in with her because I wasn't making a whole lot of money. I was working construction, making cash money. While I was at work, Miss Kelly went to where I was living, and she got my clothes and brought them to her house. That's how the moving in arrangement. She wanted me to move in. I said, look, you've got a payment that I can't support you with, which that's fine. I make plenty of money, so don't worry about that. So, no, I can't do that. Well, she went and got my clothes anyway.
So why don't you go get your clothes back?
Well, I thought if she wants me to move in this bad with her, then I mean,
Jason, that is
why
a
not?
lie.
Don't speak to him. No, I'm just asking you. You're a big guy. You work construction. You work off the books. You get paid in cash. You sound like a pretty smart guy. So if somebody takes your clothes and moves them into the house and you don't want to go, you say, gee, I like you very much. I'm going to move my clothes back.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. I should have done that.
Well, you didn't. So, and how long did you live there under duress?
From about April to about beginning of January.
So that's a long time that you were living there in slavery.
I'm not complaining.
You're not complaining. So you lived there.
Yes, ma'am.
And what? And how much money did you give her while you were living?
I would give her. My check was usually somewhere between $300 and $500. I'd give her all my money except for about $50. Well, the situation was, if I got paid by check, I could not give her the check to deposit in her bank account because she lives off of her dead husband, and she makes more than $7,000 or $9,000, I forget which one it is, a year. Then she gets penalized on that money. So she'd want me to cash my check and just give her the money, and I would keep $40 or $50 for me spending money for that week, and she'd make sure that I had whatever I needed at home, which was fine.
Okay, good. So,
as far as the tooth.
no, don't go to the tooth yet. I'm still with the truck.
Okay. Now the truck. I took it to I had Lake City Auto come and get it. I would go down to pay it, and Michelle would not want me just to give them cash money, because if they said we didn't pay any money on it, if she just wrote a check, give her the cash, then we'd be able to trace it and show them, look, we paid with a check. We'd be able to trace it, which at the time seemed like the right thing to do.
So how much money were you giving her every month?
At a minimum, $200 per week, at a minimum of $800 per month.
And you considered the money that she wrote for the fixing of your truck money that you had, in fact, contributed to the household?
No, ma'am.
You gave her additional money.
I would give her all my money, just to where she would have money. I mean, I was the one that would give the lunch money in the mornings. I would take the kids to school. She's been to court probably several times for the kids being tardy from school, from absences. And if I had to take them several times, she'd have been right back there again.
That is not true, Your Honor. Jason did give me $80 towards the loan.
When?
He did do that. In February.
Is that right?
Like the first week of February.
I gave her $80, but it wasn't for the loan. I was going to give her $100 to help her out. And she was griping because all I was giving her was $100, and she started mouthing off. And so I pulled a 20 off of the stack of 20s. I said, you're down to 80. And so she hushed, and I gave her the money. And then, of course, when she got the money, she said her piece again and left.
So you paid her $80 back.
No, just to help her out, not as a loan. I give her money throughout the time that we was dating, and more so than my part of the bills. I mean, she'd have $600 phone bills and would get mad at me.
That were all yours,
and I would sit there and I would line them
Pine.
up. I said, well, let's calculate these and see how much mine are. So 1 month mine come to $24. The next month mine come to $26. So why would I owe her
He
more
never
than that?
paid.
Tell me about this incident, sir, where she says that you threw her down on the floor.
She didn't like my hours at my new job. I'd get home about 9:30 or 10 at night. Well, she couldn't stay home. She had to go out. She had to go out drinking. Well, I get home, and the kids would be a little worried, is Mom coming home? Are you going to meet her? So, no, I'm just going to hang right here. And then ask me to call her, so I'd call her. Well, she need to come home. Well, I'll come home when I want to. You're at work all day. I'm, entitled to go out and have a good time. Well, she come home, and then the night that she had come home and that we'd actually got into, I was just trying to keep her from hitting me and kneeing me. And I would grab her, I hold her to keep her from doing that. The reason why she was so mad was because one phone bill that we had, she couldn't find one of the pages. It just mysteriously disappeared. Well, I called the phone company and asked them to send me a copy of the bills. Okay, I asked her again, where's this page from the phone bill? Well, I don't know. I showed her the copy. It was the page that was missing, which was a page full of calls to her ex-boyfriend. And, of course, that's when she went off. She was about half-time, and it made her mad, so she went off.
What time did this happen, sir?
This was probably around midnight.
Around midnight.
Between 11 and 12, I would say.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
Just a second. With the children, shh. Is that when she came home?
She come home around, I'd say around 11. And,
She came home at around 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Step up next to your mom. I just have a couple of questions for you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle Kelly says ex-boyfriend Jason Watwood owes for an unpaid loan and for knocking out her tooth.
Tell me your name.
Corey.
Corey, do you remember when your mom and Mr. Watwood had an argument?
Yes, ma'am.
What time of the day was it?
It was about 1 o'clock
1 o'clock when?
in the morning.
Had you been sleeping?
Yes.
Do you remember what time you went to sleep?
About 9 o'clock because it was a school night.
Was your mom home when you went to sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know whether your mom went out again that evening?
No, ma'am.
You don't know.
No, ma'am.
Was Mr. Watwood at home when you went to sleep?
No, ma'am.
What time did you get home that evening, sir?
About 9:30.
When you got home, was the plaintiff at home?
Jesse and Corey was at home.
I asked you if the plaintiff was at home when you
No.
got home at 9:30.
No, ma'am.
The children were sleeping?
No, they was still awake.
Do you remember your mom going out?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember, or she didn't go out?
Well, I really don't know if she went out, but when me and my sister go to bed, she doesn't really ever go out.
What happened to wake you up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I was sleeping and I heard a big noise and downstairs and I went and told my sister and she just fell back asleep because she didn't hear anything. And I went downstairs and I saw him hitting my mom. Well, not hitting her, but he had her down on the ground and he wouldn't let her up.
In what room was that?
It was in the kitchen.
And what was your mom wearing?
She was wearing, I can't remember.
What was the defendant wearing?
He was wearing a white shirt and I think a pair of blue jean shorts.
And you don't remember what your mom was wearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sit down.
Your Honor,
What?
I'd just like to say that this is what Miss Kelly does for a living. She sues people for a living. And I've been at her home several times when she's prepped the kids as to what to say, what to do.
What kind of lawsuit, sir?
Corey got hit by a car a few years back, and the lawsuit went on and on and on. Instead of settling for, I think it was $70,000, she got greedy and wouldn't settle, so she ended up losing the lawsuit.
I didn't
And
even
she's
know
in
him
lawsuits
being
right
married.
now from her house, and she's suing four different people. And she's even told me that, you know, they've offered her $100,000 a piece, but she won't take it. She's
That's
going
not
for $1
true.
million a piece. That's what she does for a living.
I don't know if she does that for a living, sir. She has to do something else for a living. What
No.
kind of work do you do?
Actually, I'm a widow, and I'm a housekeeper. I take care of my children.
How much money do you get from Social Security
$944.
a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other source of income?
Yes, ma'am. I have my child support.
From?
My children's father.
I thought you said you were a widow.
I am. My second husband was killed in a car wreck.
What's the amount of your child support?
Right now, it's $800 a month.
Okay. Now, are you telling me, Miss Kelly, that you had not been out that evening?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I would go pick him up. He worked 6 nights a week. His truck was in the shop. I took him to work every single morning and picked him up every single night.
When did the truck come out of the shop?
And the truck was in the shop for over a month.
When did it come out of the shop?
At the end of December, 1st of January.
Well, then the truck wasn't in the shop at the time you say he assaulted you because
No,
you'd
ma'am,
already
it
given the
wasn't.
money.
Yes, ma'am, it was afterwards.
So then what were you taking him to work for?
Because when he got the truck back, it broke down again, and he has yet to even taken it back to see if anything that I had paid for that truck being fixed, he has not even taken
not
it back
true.
to see if that was it. He's driving his father's Cavalier once again, and the truck's still
My
sitting on the
fine
side
right
of the
now.
road.
I just had to take it in one day. They put a new distributor cap on it. It was fine. It was January 10th when I got my truck out. Unless I'm mistaken, Tuesday through Saturday is 5 nights a week that I work, not 6.
And after that, the truck was not back in the shop?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Watwood, the only question that I have for you, I'm not satisfied that there was a loan for this truck.
Okay.
The only thing that I have to ask you is I want you to describe the incident that took place in the kitchen for me.
Michelle come in from being out. I was already there. When she come in, I said, Michelle, did you ever find the other page to the phone records? No, she never had found them. I said, well, just so happens I got a copy made. Here's the page that was missing. And that's when she went off, got mad. She was, like I said, she was about half tight. She had way too much to drink. She's the one that, when she loses her temper, she goes off. All I did, Your Honor, was just, when she was trying to hit me, I would hold her arms to keep from hitting me, and I would turn to the side to keep her from kneeing me. And she was kicking and swinging so wildly that she fell when I was holding her arms because her feet just from trying to kick me.
Does the incident with the page from the phone bill sound familiar to you?
No, ma'am, I don't have a clue what he's talking about. He
You
had
don't?
a $600
well,
month phone bill
the only
every
thing
month,
that I
and he
ask
never
you, the
paid it
reason I
either.
ask you that, Miss Kelly, is in your complaint, you say that this fight took place in mid-December, not in January, because in this complaint you say, around the holiday times, I begged him to pay me back because I needed extra cash for presents. Did you forget that you wrote that?
No, ma'am, actually, I didn't write that.
Let me see if you signed it. That is your signature.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
it's the same as here, and you signed it, you swore to it, and you said, around the holidays, I begged him to pay me back because I needed extra cash for presents.
Right,
That's what you signed.
right.
Case is dismissed.
All is excused. You may step out.
And I'm just glad that, Judge, you can see through her.
He's a loser, and I know what he is, and that's the bottom line.
It's completely bogus. No truth to it at all.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of James versus James. Step forward, please.
28-year-old construction worker Cameo James is suing her brother, 27-year-old truck driver John James, and his wife, Celine. Cameo says her brother owes her for bail and loans to help him get back on his feet.
Miss James, this is your brother,
Yes, ma'am.
and this is his wife.
Yes, ma'am.
I will start with your story. About a year ago, you claimed that your brother and his wife moved to California to be closer to you and the family.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometime after he arrived, he was arrested for domestic violence on the complaint of his wife. You posted bail for him.
Yes, ma'am.
that money you want back.
Yes.
You claim that later he separated from his wife and he moved back to Arizona without your wife.
Yes.
And then decided to come back to California.
Yes.
And according to you, he called you and you again assisted him in paying for some stuff to get out of storage and wiring him some money.
Yes.
How much money did you wire him?
I've sent him money, wired him money 3 times.
Go ahead, let me hear.
I believe one time was 200, one time was 300, and the other time was 200.
You have no records of this?
Not the original Western Union records, I do not. But I do have a signed statement from my brother showing that we did have an agreement as to the amounts.
Oh, let me see that. And the bail was how much?
$1,015.
Okay. So according to this, he owes you $1,330. Is that right?
Yes, on that one, yes.
And what's the other money for?
The other $415 is for a storage unit.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
Well, as far as the storage unit, my whole family knew that I'd gotten behind on my storage payment. I was about a month and a half behind. I sat down at her kitchen table, and she, without any kind of problem whatsoever, told me to sit down, and I was going to accept it no matter what. It was a gift. She handed me the receipt. I was in shock because, I mean, it was a $415 gift. She said, just call it an early Christmas present.
No, it was absolutely not a gift.
Well, tell me how it came about.
He was behind in his storage unit. They were getting ready to lose the storage unit, and he asked me if I would help him yet again, so I did.
No, ma'am.
Well, Miss James, let me tell you what I think. Since you have carefully memorialized every other debt that he owes you, why wouldn't you have put the $415 here as part of his loan?
Because it was a separate issue. That first set of debts was due to the travel money, wiring him the money back and forth. The storage unit was a separate
I understand it had a
issue.
lot. There were a lot of different things. This wasn't just bail money. This was bail money, wire money, everything else. So if you had these things, and if it was just a loan, you should have put it down on here.
I should have.
You should have. But one of the things that you said in your complaint was that you gave him this money, but there was a condition. And the condition was that he not go back with his wife. And since he broke that agreement and went back with his wife, you now want your money back.
That's pretty much how it is.
Go ahead.
Part of me helping him was that he was supposed to get his life together. He was supposed to get his life on track. One of the on tracks was to leave Celine. She's bad news. She's trouble. She's caused him nothing but heartache and grief. I'm throwing away good money after bad, and he's going to return to her again.
I guess he is.
I guess he is.
Learn your lesson. But if this was part of a loan that you made, I must assume that you would have put it on the very carefully detailed memorialized loan. So I'm issuing a judgment in the amount of $1,330. Mr. James, you owe that to your sister, correct?
I guess I do.
A judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,330. Thank you.
This is case number 149 on the calendar in the matter of Haywood versus Wigner. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Haywood, you live in a condominium complex.
Yes.
The defendant lives there as well. She is head of the Homeowners Association.
No, that's not correct.
What are you in charge of?
I'm not now, but during the incident, I was the property manager.
Okay, but you also live there.
Yes.
And it is your claim that the defendant instigated an assault for which you were arrested. You want to be reimbursed for all of your medical bills, for your lost wages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The defendant says that you were actually the aggressor in this assault, and she is counterclaiming. Now, the problem that developed between the two of you had to do with trash.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a trial with regard to this assault. You were the complainant.
Yes.
And that case was dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Okay, I was in my living room playing Nintendo with my son and my nieces, and all of a sudden I just heard a bang, and I looked, and it was trash on my door. And basically I knew it was Marianne because a week before she had told me, you know how they deliver the city trash cans?
No, I don't know how they deliver city trash cans.
They deliver the city everybody has them now, the city trash dumpsters. Well, they had delivered them, and I used my trash can, so she put a note on my door saying...
She told you, don't use the trash cans, use the dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
And you put your trash in the trash can.
Yes.
So that you heard a thud outside, and you saw your trash where?
On my front porch against my door.
Okay. Did you see who put it there?
Well, actually, I saw her walking away. I didn't see her put it there. I saw her walking away from there, the only person.
So you assumed it was her. So what did you do?
Well, I went to the door to see who put it there. I saw her walking up, and so I went. I put on shoes. I wasn't dressed. I had on a gown. So I went and threw on some sweatpants and a shirt. And actually, I went out, put it back on her porch.
And how far is her porch from your porch?
It's probably like 8 feet. I stood at the stairs, and I kind of tossed it back on her porch.
So you didn't go up on her porch. You
No.
took the trash and you threw it on her porch.
I tossed it, yeah, just like she did mine. But she
Just
wasn't in
don't-
there.
You didn't see her throw the trash on your
Well, she
porch.
admits it.
Shh. I want you to try answering my questions.
Okay.
You didn't see her put the trash on your porch.
No, I did not.
You came out, saw the trash on your porch, and flung it on her porch.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened next?
So then I went back into my house, and it came flying back against my door again.
You didn't see who it was.
No, I thought it was her.
And what did you do next?
Basically,
Now you got your garbage on your porch.
it was tit for tat. I mean, in actuality,
I asked you what you did next.
I went and I threw it back on hers again.
That's not
And then
true,
what?
Your Honor.
Just a second. And what happened next?
She came out and pepper sprayed me, and the gardener was a witness to that.
So she came out and she sprayed you in the face.
Yes.
What happened next?
So then when she sprayed me, it's like it got into, because I actually was turning, when she opened her door, I was turning to go back to my apartment. So when I turned to go back to my apartment, when it got in my eye, when I turned back around, when I heard her door open, I turned around, and so it got me right here in this eye. So in actuality, I held my eye, and I went to grab her can from her because she was walking towards me spraying. So I went to grab the can of pepper spray from her, and then we struggled over it. Like, trying to get it away from each other, because I was going to spray her back, to be honest with you, because she sprayed me.
Okay, go ahead.
So then as we struggled over it, she hit me, because it wasn't getting loose. I hit her, and we hit each other, and we struggled over this can. And basically with one hand on the can and one hand, like, striking each other.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just not going to get to you in a minute. Go ahead.
Then we ended up over a fence where Mr. had came down, and he grabbed me from behind and choked me and dragged me back. And at that time, Mary Ann came with a rake, and I grabbed it, and while he's choking me, and I'm on the ground. He's a director of the condominium, one of the directors. He owns the apartment or condo above Mary Ann.
So he saw the scuffle, evidently, and went out and restrained you, and she went and got a rake. Is that what you just said?
Well, he didn't see it. Well, he was upstairs, and then he came down. And so, yes, and then she grabbed a rake from the gardener.
Yes.
And came at me with it, and it's like, as I'm trying to pry his hands away from me, I'm on my knees. I reached up when she came at me. I saw through my peripheral vision a person approaching me, so I just reached up at the time she came at me with it, and I grabbed it from her.
And
then I tried to get Mr. off, because I'm asthmatic and I couldn't breathe, so I'm trying to get him off of me. Then he starts letting go of me as I'm standing up, catching my breath, because it took a few seconds before I could catch my breath. He, I guess to grab the rake back from me, he stepped towards me, and I hit him with the rake. I swung the rake, it hit him in his head, and I dropped the rake, and I walked into my house, and I called 911.
You were, in fact, convicted of assaulting Mr.
I was found guilty.
You were found guilty.
Of
You
a
were
lesser charge.
convicted.
Yes.
Of assaulting Mr.
With a lesser battery, yes.
But acquitted after a trial with regard to the defendant.
Yeah, they dropped charges against me for her.
All right, so now you tell me your version of what happened.
Could I go back a little bit deeper than that?
To when?
October of 1999?
No. Stay with this. If there was bad blood between the two of you, that's not relevant.
It kind of sets the scene, but anyway, 14 cans were delivered in the parking lot along the edge of the back into the parking lot, real close to one of the units. The only reason they were delivered there was because we were going to do an enclosure out where the dumpster is on the street and then move the 14 cans out there. So it was like a temporary layover. So I delivered a notice to all units and let them know that until further notice, please use the dumpster. So a few days later, there's 2 cans that are full of trash. Well, actually, one was full of trash. It was unit number 9. It had the numbers on each one of the cans.
What unit are you in?
That's not true.
Just answer my question.
I'm unit number 9.
You're number 9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
And I delivered a notice to both unit number 9 and 11 and reiterated the fact that we have a dumpster and you don't use the trash cans, and please take the trash out of there and put it in the dumpster. Number 11 came to me and she said, I'm so sorry. She said, I debated whether I should do that or not. And the next thing I know, I get this back on my door. They shouldn't be there then. You empty them yourself and kiss my crazy, which was typical of the conversations I would have with Paula over parking issues.
Just a second. Shh. Why did you write her this nasty note?
Well, I didn't. In actuality,
Why did you write her this nasty note?
I did not write that exact what it says. I mean, and basically that is copied on there. I mean, because I saw that when I went to trial. I did say that they shouldn't be there, but I did not say the B word. I mean, I didn't call her in actuality.
No, you wrote this down.
No, I wrote that you're crazy, the crazy part, but I did not write.
Yeah, you wrote a nasty note.
Oh, no.
You were crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
you
I
wrote
did
crazy.
say,
Told it empty.
because you know why?
I'm speaking.
Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Paula Haywood says neighbor Marianne Wigner pepper sprayed her during an argument over garbage cans. Marianne claims Paula instigated the fight.
Can I ask you a question? Put it down.
Okay.
What's the difference if the condominium where you're living says, please don't use the trash cans, please use the dumpster? What's the skin off your nose in taking your trash and putting it in the dumpster?
Okay, I have pictures. It was in evidence, but basically, and she gave me a note. She has a note that says, you know, the dumpsters are overloaded. We're going to be getting a lock or something because we think other people are using our dumpsters. And, you know, don't put your trash on the ground outside of the dumpster.
So, madam,
so there was
talking
nowhere
about
else.
being civilized. So if you get this note and if the dumpster is full, why don't you say, listen, I got the note and I'd be more than happy to comply, but they're full, so I have to use the cans.
She had never gave me that. I do my job. I was working from 8 to 8, doing caregiving for a handicapped child. And I lost my job, making $100 a night, but I never received that letter. She put that on my door, actually, when she threw the trash back the second time. That was attached to the trash can.
I don't know if I believe you. I think that you copped an attitude. That doesn't mean you're entitled to get sprayed with pepper spray. I'm not there yet, but I believe you copped an attitude. Now, you find the trash on your door. Who threw the trash on her porch?
Bob actually put the bag on her porch and said, please take this trash out to the dumpster where it belongs.
Why would Mr. take the trash and put it on her porch? I mean, that's sort of an aggressive act to take it and toss it on her porch.
I didn't expect him to do that. What happened was that there were previous confrontations with Paula Haywood over parking incidents, and I was attacked by her in my home. She came in my home, she tore the phone off my wall, she jabbed at me, and she socked me in the eye. And then her mother, before the police came out, her mother did the same thing. She walked right in my home. I'm getting ready to pack.
So why, those are the things you want to talk about from before.
Yeah, right. So,
so you're not happy with these people as tenants.
Right, and
okay.
I've had other...
Now, after she took the trash and tossed it on your porch,
yes,
what did you do?
I didn't throw it. I put it down in front of her door, and then I walked away.
Go ahead. What happened next?
Then I was with the maintenance man in front of my unit, and I was helping him pick up some weeds and some trash and things. The next thing I know, I felt something behind me. I had previous to that, picked up some pepper spray because of my previous incidents with her. And so I had the pepper spray in my hand. I heard something, and I turned around, and she has this bag that I had already inspected. In fact, here's the pictures. It has that it was her bag. There were 3 jugs of glass in there. So when I saw her hurling it, and it was about ready to come down on me, I pushed the spray. I didn't really know how to use the pepper spray, but I sprayed it. It hit her in the chin. I did see that. It didn't hit her in the eye. It hit her in the chin. The next thing I know, all hell broke loose, and she grabbed a hold of me in the back of my hair. She threw me over the 3-foot iron railing, and she took that can out of my hand, and she beat me. I've got pictures here of what she did to me. I've got bruises on my ribs, my eyes, and my forehead.
Your Honor.
Just a minute. You told your story.
Okay. Well, please get a chance.
Did you see these photographs?
And yes, I did.
Just answer my
question.
question.
Yes, I did.
You have seen these. These are pretty serious.
Yes, I saw them.
These are pretty serious.
Okay, can I please say something, Your Honor?
Just a second.
Okay.
I'm speaking. What were you doing yard work holding pepper spray?
Because of some previous incidents with...
You mean you walk around all the time with pepper spray?
I do now, since she came
Yeah.
in my home.
You
and
walk
attacked
around
me.
all the time carrying pepper spray.
Not all the time, just if I'm outside doing some work and the parking situation, especially on the weekend, gets pretty bad. And she's not the only one that retaliates. There's 4 of them, and I'm by myself. And these 4 people lash out quite a bit. No one has ever attacked me, though, except for Paula and her mother.
Do you have any photographs of your injuries?
No, let me tell you this. First of all, I'm dark-skinned. I did admit I hit her, I did not bruise. She said she hit me. We fought. Yes,
I didn't say.
I just asked you.
Oh no, I don't, because you know why I don't bruise.
The answer is
no. I mean, I
you
don't.
don't have.
I do have a medical record.
Then I'd like to see it. I'd like to see your medical record.
Okay. And then, oh.
All right, so you went and took x-rays, and the x-rays were normal. Is that right?
It says it was a reversal and that means I had a sprain. And I wore a hard neck brace for 7 days, and then had to go back, and I wore a soft one for 7 days.
Now, Miss Haywood, when you saw the trash that she had put back on your porch, and you see her walking
I saw her throw it. I mean, I was out the window.
Just answer my question.
Okay,
You're
yes,
not going to think
yes.
faster than I am. I guarantee it, madam. You started this whole problem because you didn't follow the rules.
Her rules?
I'm making that judgment. There were 14 units, and you have the problem. That doesn't mean that you are responsible for your getting sprayed in the face, but I have to find out, when you saw the trash that she admits she put back on your porch, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Did you walk down the steps with the trash?
No, it's up the steps. I went up the steps.
You had to walk up?
No, it's like 3 steps. I mean, they're not...
A step is a step. Do you have to walk down the steps to get to where she was, or did you have to walk up the steps to get to where she was?
Both.
I have 3 steps down, then 3 steps up. Okay. And then her door is like 6 feet or 6 feet from the step I threw the bag from while she was inside.
Where was she when you tossed it?
She was inside her house because she came out, the door flew open, I turned around, she sprayed me.
Now, you were doing work with the gardener.
Yes.
You were working with him outside.
Yes.
Don't you think he would have been a good witness here?
Yes. He was let go because of his slowness and independent. He wasn't dependable.
Did he testify at the criminal trial?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
He did?
He testified, and I have all the tapes.
Can you see if you can find that on the tape?
What happened? ¿Qué pasó? Cuando yo miré, Marian salió de la puerta. When I saw Marian coming out of the door, diciendo cosas extrañas. They were orally saying things to one another. They were arguing. Did you see how the fight started? ¿Usted cómo empezó la pelea? No, porque cuando ellas estaban... Cuando Marian salió de la puerta, ella también. No, because when Marian came out of the door, yo me volteé. I turned around.
The witness clearly says that he saw you, Miss Wagner, coming out the door.
I was at my door because it's right there in the same general area that the yard is.
I understand that, but he clearly said he saw you coming out the door, which means that you weren't out doing yard work. I have to believe one version or the other, and it seems much more logical to me that you saw the trash being thrown on your door, you ran and you got your pepper spray, and you came out your door, and you sprayed her with it. I say that because if you're outside doing yard work, it means you're working with both your hands. It's sort of cumbersome to walk around holding a can of pepper spray. In any event, you tell me, Miss Haywood, what you believe your damages were as a result of this unfortunate incident.
I lost my job. I've lost wages. I have a note for my job.
How did you lose your job?
Okay, at the time that this happened, I was making, I have it right here, I was making $100 a night.
Just a second. How did you lose your job?
Because if she never would have initiated, I was not found guilty. I was found not guilty, or there was charges dropped against Mary Ann. So she was the initiator. None of this would have ever took place, ma'am.
So, just a second. Is your claim here that because you were convicted of one assault, that is with regard to Mr. and that conviction would never have taken place but for the fact that she started this altercation with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your cause of action here?
Yes, ma'am. And
sorry. You were not incarcerated because of her. You didn't lose your jobs because of her. You overreacted with regard to Mr. You hit him with a rake that they
she came
probably
at me with.
considered a dangerous instrument, and you were convicted with regard to that.
I mean, because of the fact this woman her actions caused all this to take place. Because I even have it where he choked me, and I have the testimony.
Let me explain something to you.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, the money that you lost
She
taking care
did
of Yuki.
the wrong thing. She should not have come out her door and sprayed you with the pepper spray. But that doesn't mean that you can sue her because you got into an altercation and then you assaulted somebody else. So your case, Miss Hayward, is dismissed, as is your counterclaim, Miss Wagner. You sprayed her with the pepper spray. She reacted, you got injured, but you were the aggressor with the pepper spray. That's all.
Yeah, this is case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Gregory versus Billsbach Termont. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Gregory, according to your complaint, you owned some real estate that was rental property. You rented it to the two defendants and claimed that during the course of their tenancy, they trashed your property. They say they did nothing to your property but normal wear and tear, that they had some parties there that you were aware of, and they are counterclaiming. They say that during a snowstorm, you failed to plow the driveway, which caused their car to catch on fire. When did this lease begin?
The 1st of August in 2000.
How long was the lease?
It was a month-to-month affair. Because this is a property that I was trying to sell.
So you didn't have a written lease?
Yes, I do have a written lease.
Can I see it, please? Okay, so they rented the property on August 1st. When did you first see any damage to the property?
Well, I was getting complaints from neighbors.
What was the date?
Probably in October. It became obvious that they were having parties there and so forth.
Okay, when was the next time you were alerted that there may be any problem with the property?
Well, as the snow left and I could see that the land was fairly well destroyed all around the place from four-wheeling and so forth, but the final blow, I guess, came when the neighbors were complaining to the point where they were telling me I had to get rid of them. And that's when I went out in the first part of April, you know, discovered the...
I see some pictures there.
Yes.
So let me see the photographs.
Now, I should have sorted through. They're not all wonderful.
Is this a trailer?
It's a mobile home that has been built onto, and it's about 2,000 square foot.
Were these holes in the wall or anything else there when you rented it to them?
No, we were having some leakage with the roof, and they said that they could take care of that if I would buy the materials, which I did, and I have my receipts for that.
What I'm asking you, madam, is I'm going to show you some pictures. What I'd like you to do is take a look at these photographs and tell me whether this is the way the property looked when you rented it to them.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Would you show this to these two people? What is that?
That's the wall that's falling down.
No, it isn't. It's not a wall that's falling down. You want to explain that to me?
There were holes in the wall that were caused by parties that we had out there.
Okay, period. Good.
That's our refrigerator, Your Honor.
Is that the way it was when you got it?
That was our refrigerator when we moved in.
Oh, good. So I don't have to look at the refrigerator. Perfect. They bought the refrigerator, right? Madam.
That doesn't ring a bell with me.
Well, if it doesn't ring a bell with you, they say that they bought the refrigerator. I trust that they bought the refrigerator.
There were 2 refrigerators there. I'm sorry.
Same party?
Yes.
You got some nerve. What's wrong with you? Huh? What is wrong with you?
Well, in the beginning, when we rented the property, Sherry told us our deposit wasn't for the trailer. She didn't care about the trailer. She said, trash it or fix it. Those were her exact words. She don't care. Trash it or fix it. It's up to you. We fixed it in the first place. The roof got so bad. The house was totally unlivable. There was no hot water, no furnace.
So move! So
That's what we
move!
did.
You aren't being held a prisoner.
Also, before we...
I'm not finished with you. If the trailer is not habitable because there's no heat, no hot water, you have the ability to get out of this lease, right?
Correct.
You don't do this to somebody else's property. Nobody says trash it. Nobody normal. She's not abnormal.
Those were her words. Trash it or fix it.
Bull. Not common sense, unless somebody is on heavy doses of something. And if you live in a place, and assuming that she was having a mental lapse and said that to you, you still don't do this. So you have to pay for all the damage.
Maybe half the reason why she didn't care that we trashed it is she told me once that she had that trailer insured at over $30,000. They'd make a nice insurance claim. And that trailer is appraised at a little over $3,000 for the whole trailer. The roof damage well exceeds the $3,000 to have that roof repaired. So basically the trailer's worth nothing. And
why didn't you just live there peacefully? I mean, what joy does somebody get in causing this kind of damage? What joy?
Teenage kids.
When we moved in,
If you're, just a second. Did you move from your family's house into this property?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you do this to your parents' house?
No, Your Honor.
Then you know better. It's not as if you weren't housebroken. You were, in fact, housebroken.
When we moved in, Your Honor, the previous tenant had been convicted of trafficking meth, and the FBI had just done a raid on that exact trailer when we moved in. The place was completely unlivable. We spent over 40 hours fixing it up.
And what did you have to do?
We had to pick up heroin needles.
Motorcycles in our living room, our kitchen.
What did you do
About
with them?
10 of them.
What did you do with them?
We had the salvage yard come pick them up.
Did you sell them to the salvage yard?
No.
You just gave them away?
Yes.
They were not worth anything. They were torn into parts.
Sherry told us
to get rid of them.
Yeah, she told us that it was our responsibility to clean up the trailer. In the lease, it says...
So it says that you clean up the trailer. She's selling it as is. So far, I don't hear about anything like this.
Well,
I heard
when
you
we
got rid of
moved
a
in,
lot of junk inside.
The roof was always leaking when we moved in, and we never said it was no problem that could fix it because the roof was in bad condition when we moved in. She had already had a professional contractor come out there and do the exact same thing that she bought us materials for. And the roof still was leaking, and there was no way we could get it repaired.
Why would you fix the roof and do this to the walls?
Because the roof was completely collapsing when we first moved in. We tried as hard as we could to put up the roofing materials, but it didn't stop it. And that whole, there's 3 sections of the trailer. That third section...
If you notice that I didn't show you any pictures of the collapsing where it looks like there were leaks coming in. She's got them here. I didn't show you those. Because if you were renting a place and had a leaky roof, I don't hold you responsible for that at all. This I hold you responsible for. This doesn't come from a leaky roof.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sherry Gregory says former tenants Joel Termott and Chris Bilsbach trashed her property. Joel and Chris say Sherry is a con artist.
According to you, you were just following instructions, right?
Not necessarily following instructions, but knowing in the... You put 3 kids under the age of 19 in a house on a farm. You know what they're going to do, and you tell them they can trash it or fix it.
When we moved out
As a landlord, would any landlord do that and not expect this to happen?
When we moved out there, we told her...
May I please see the estimates of your damage?
Your Honor, I have one statement here from the insurance company, which has paid a portion of that, okay?
I want to see the estimates of the damage that were not paid by your insurance.
That's this document.
Let me see what she's got for me. No, listen. First of all, strike out roof leaks, water damage. That was a problem that existed before they moved in, and it's your responsibility to take care of it. Carpet throughout. I can't tell what damage they caused and what damage your previous tenant caused because it seems to me that you did not examine that property before they moved in.
I did.
No, because I believe them when they said that they found needles in there, motorcycle parts in the trailer, and all that other kind of stuff that you told them to get rid of. Because in your lease it says that you they take the property exactly as it's turned over to them. And I believe them because they were at least honest enough to say to me, I caused this. It was parties. And that's what happens when you rent to teenagers. I mean, that's pretty honest and damning. So I believe that there was a lot of junk in that place when they moved in. So how do I know when the damage was done to the carpet?
The carpet thing, the main carpet damage that I was talking about there was just where the roof had leaked and made
Oh,
it,
strike
okay?
that. That's your responsibility.
I'm not talking about carpet throughout.
Outside debris cleanup. Do you have a bill for that?
I've got a man out there working now. It's just way too short a time to get a total estimate on it. And with
Well,
the
I
grass
can't help-
growing tall...
I can't help you unless I have a bill. This is you.
Right.
I need bills.
Your Honor, could I add one thing?
Yes.
She claims that she gave us our eviction notice on the 1st of April. We received our eviction notice on the 20th of April, which she had dated the 1st. So
Okay.
we'd only have 10 days, 11 days to get out, which was a totally false statement on the eviction notice. We were out within the week, within 7 days. We came out there within the last day, before the end of the month, and there was someone already living out there, cleaning up, doing work out there, re-drywalling, stuff like that. This is all stuff that I'm sure she's not paying him. I'm sure he's
I don't
living
know
there,
whether
he's
she
fixing
is
it
or
up.
not,
She's
but I don't
telling
have
him
a
the
bill.
same exact thing that she told us when we moved in there.
Just a minute.
Fix it?
Doesn't make what you did to the property right.
No.
Okay.
But she's got someone living there while we were still paying rent, while we were still supposed to be living there. She's got someone there just because she knew we were out.
Who's living there now?
The person he's talking about did not have permission to be there at that time. I didn't know that person was there. He was someone that was wanting to rent it because when I called and...
Is he still there?
2 different people.
Who's living there?
Mark,
When did Mark move in?
the 10th or 11th of May.
That's not correct, Your Honor. We went back before the 1st of May, and I went in my room to get some stuff that I still had there, and there was like 3 snakes and a bunch of hamsters living in my bedroom, and that was before the 1st of May.
All right. Interior debris cleanup. Yeah, you're going to pay for that, boys.
We came
But
back
I'm allocating $200 to clean it up. Now,
We had till the 1st. We went out there the 28th to clean up that weekend.
why didn't you clean up before you moved out?
We moved all our personal stuff out.
Why
we went
didn't you
back to
clean up before you moved out?
This is 7 days after we got the eviction notice. We were out. We went back to clean up on the 7th day. Someone else was already living there.
Okay. Approximately 3 acres. Seeding? You have a bill for that?
My farmer tenant out there will do that work. He has never presented me with his...
Then I can't help you, Miss Gregory. I need bills. How do I know whether it costs $3,000 to reseed 3 acres? How do I know that? All I know is that you can go and you can rent a spreader for $20, and for another $50, you can buy a whole bunch of seed. Is that right?
I'm not a farmer.
Your Honor.
Well, I know. I mean, I know a little bit about that, and if you want to, then you spread it. And you spread it, and grass grows. You have $3,000.
Your Honor.
Ms. Gregory, it's ridiculous. I mean, do you want me to dismiss this case without prejudice, go and get bills, go and get estimates? I'm not going to do anything.
May I say?
Sure.
This is land that is not just needs seeding, it needs completely smoothed out because of all the ruts and everything from the four-wheeling and driving on areas that never should have been driven on.
Well, Ms. Gregory, you have your choice, madam. Do you want me to dismiss your case without prejudice? You can refile it at some later point when you get the estimates for these things. Or do you want me to continue? If I continue, I have no idea what I'm going to come up with. So far, I got $200 because that's what it looks like it would cost anybody to spend 4 hours in cleaning up the mess that they left inside. That's it. What do you want to do? You need proof when you come to court. This is not proof. A prepared statement is not proof of damage.
Well, I asked for this from both the tenant farmer that will do the work on the land and from the guy that is doing the repairs on the house. And he didn't submit that to me. He said, Sherry, the minimum it's going to take on that roof and the water damage part is $2,500.
We didn't cause the roof and water damage, Your Honor.
I struck out the water damage because that was a problem before they moved in.
It was supposed to have been repaired by them. I bought them materials to take care of it.
That's your problem. Tenants don't do that. And if you rented the property to 2 teenagers and you tell them that the roof leaks, I'm going to buy you material and fix it, and if you have a real interest in your property, then what you do is you go back 3 weeks later and check your property and see if it's been done properly. What do you mean,
No, I mean,
Give me
it's
a break.
something
How
I
much
can't.
did you get from the insurance company?
Here,
Just tell me how much you got from the insurance company.
$12,329.31.
For, shh, quiet. For all the damage.
For the things that they had listed.
Your Honor, I have a copy from the county assessor appraising the trailer that she got insurance money for.
She got $12,000 from the insurance company. She can take care of the property from that. I just finished plaintiff's case. Let's get to your nonsense. She didn't plow the driveway? Huh?
She told, we live in the middle of the country. The driveway has a very big incline.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's hard to get up when there's a big snow, and the fact that it drifts twice as high as much snowfall as you have.
So?
She told us, we were telling her we had problems getting up the driveway. She's like, well, I'll have the farmer or a neighbor come plow the driveway. Never seen it. Never came around.
No. She said have the farmer or the neighbor plow the driveway.
Yeah, someone that she knew that had a plow would come out and
No,
clean our
that's
driveway.
not what you just said. You just said to me, she said to you, have the farmer or the neighbor plow the driveway.
Yes, her as the landlord was going to take care of it. It was her
No,
responsibility.
did she say that?
Yes.
No. I don't believe she said that. She said have one of your neighbors take care of that.
No, she didn't tell us to have it done.
Really?
She said she was going to have it done.
When did she tell you that?
We don't know the farmer. We don't know the neighbors. The
Oh,
neighbors
they don't
are-
want to know you. I got
The
news
neighbors
for you.
she's talking about, she has sold part of this 80 acres too.
Okay. And when was the first time that you had a problem with snow?
We had,
Give me the date. First date you had a problem with snow.
well, in Nebraska it snows from November till
So the first problem you had was in November?
Correct.
probably more like October.
So the first problem that you had was in October and you couldn't get your car out?
The thing is it wasn't the fact that I got it stuck, it was the fact I left it at the house and rode to work with him, or rode to school with him, because he had a four-wheel drive. I knew I wouldn't make it out.
Tell me whose car exploded.
That was mine, Your Honor.
Well, how did that happen?
Fire department says it caught on fire.
Don't tell me what the fire department says.
It caught on
That's
fire because it
hearsay.
got stuck
Where did it get stuck?
in the driveway.
Yes, and you tried to start it? I mean, it
Tried.
didn't...
It was
didn't
running when I got stuck.
Spontaneous combustion. It didn't just explode because it wasn't
No,
like
it caught on
sitting...
fire. The tires caught the engine on fire.
Yes, because you kept trying to move it. I assume you were trying to move it.
Well, as soon as it got stuck, yes, I tried getting out. I didn't try and get out for, 10 minutes. I tried to get out, 30 seconds. I knew I was stuck. I mean, it was buried. The car was completely not going anywhere. I turned it off, walked up to the house in sub-negative 30-degree weather, went up to the house, and I couldn't see the car from the driveway. The car burned up. The fire department called me, said, your car's on fire.
Oh, okay. So what do you want from me? What do you want from her?
Well, it's a countersuit. She said, and as a landlord, she was going to take care of having the driveway plowed.
And if she didn't take care of
She
it
told me
starting...
she was
Listen,
gonna-
hey, listen to me carefully. When did your car catch on fire? What month?
December.
December. If she told you initially, and you say it starts to snow in October in Nebraska, that she was going to plow, and she didn't plow, you know what you do? Move! October, move November, move December. You're not a prisoner there. You don't like the leaks, you move. You don't like the heat, you move. You don't trash it. You don't blame her for anything. You get out. So, you got $12,000 from the insurance company? Good. You have no case because you have no proof of any additional damage. You have no case. Period. Driveway wasn't plowed. You don't want to get out a shovel and plow your car. You drive with him. He couldn't move his car. Move. Don't rent to teenagers anymore. Goodbye.
This is case number 133 on the calendar in the matter of Rivers versus Moore. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Rivers, according to the complaint that I've read, you and Miss Moore had a relationship, and you have a young child who is either 9 or 10 months old. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
It is your claim that Miss Moore caused you to be arrested for violating a temporary restraining order. That case was later dismissed.
Yes.
And you want her to pay you for the bail that you had to put up when she had you arrested because you say that you never violated or threatened her to cause you to be arrested.
That's correct.
That's your claim. And Ms. Moore says that you did, in fact, threaten her. She is counterclaiming for some car nonsense that dates back a year or so ago, and also for clothes and furniture of the babies that you kept when there was this argument back in November. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Oh. You were living together in November of the year 2000 when there was an altercation in your home. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And at that time, who left the house?
I did.
And the baby remained with you?
Yes.
And then you went to court?
Yes, I did.
To have the baby returned to you?
Yes, I did.
The two of you are currently involved in a custody dispute over the baby. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yes, Your Honor. May I add that we did not go to court for her to obtain our daughter. What happened was she went and got a conflicting order that I had already had. I should say she got one just like I had one. And she came to the house, and the police interpreted it as a custody paper, when in fact it was a child protective order, which meant the authorities should have notified the Child Protective Service and removed the child from both of us.
Okay. Now, the judge issued a temporary restraining order at some point after this November incident. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Now, what I want you to do is to tell me when you were arrested for violating the temporary restraining order.
I was arrested, Your Honor, February the 23rd.
I'm asking you.
Okay, my apologies. Oh, February the 9th. My apologies.
February the 9th.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Moore, I would like you to tell me first, when was the custody case started?
After the restraining orders were filed.
Give me the month.
It was December.
Who went to court to file for custody?
I did, Your Honor.
You did?
Yes.
And that was in December?
No. What happened in December, Your Honor, was we went to a hearing in regards to the 20-day restraining orders that we had previously received. I filed later on. In fact, I filed about a month and a half ago for full custody for my daughter.
Just a second. Was there at the time, prior to February 9th, an issue with regard to custody of the child?
Yes, Your Honor. DCYF was ordered to file dependency charges against me and the mother, and ordered us to be evaluated by a doctor.
Okay, is that matter still pending?
Yes, it is. There's one more visit to the doctor for me and my daughter.
All right. Now, Ms. Moore, on the 8th of February, Mr. Rivers had a visitation day scheduled with his daughter. Is that right?
That's correct.
Was that pursuant to a court order?
Yes, it was.
And what was his visitation schedule?
His visitation schedule was supposed to be every other week for an hour.
What day of the week?
They don't set a date because every time they set a date for him to go, he says he can't go that day.
Well, just a minute, but he had a date to go, February 8th.
Yes, he did. They schedule it when he's available.
Fine. Do you work?
No, I don't.
Well, does he work?
No, he doesn't, not that I know of.
Do you work?
No, Your Honor. I'm facing 3 surgeries, and I'm under doctor's care at this time.
Just a second. So you don't work either?
No, I don't. I can't not work, Your Honor. I had a spinal injury.
How long a period of time had elapsed before February 8th that you did not see your daughter?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, Your Honor. It could have been a week.
Okay.
Or it could have been several weeks because I was having a great deal of difficulty with the Child Protective Service scheduling.
You had visitation scheduled February 8th. Was the
Yes.
visitation supposed to take place in the defendant's house?
No, the visitation was supposed to take place at the Child Protective Agency.
So she was supposed to bring the child to the Child Protective Agency?
No, they had, I guess, a schedule.
How was the child supposed to get to Child Protective for visitation?
There's a worker from DCYF. She comes and she comes to pick up my daughter, and she takes my daughter to DCYF to see him.
And you left the house on the 8th?
Yeah, she called like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time to tell me about that. And I didn't write it down when she told me, and I forgot, and my daughter had I had an appointment to see my daughter's pediatrician about her WIC papers for her milk. So that's why.
Baloney. Baloney. You have 2-3 weeks and you have nothing else to do because you don't work, and if he's supposed to have his hour of visitation, that's an important enough thing to put down, as important as going to get WIC.
I have court dates and doctor's appointments I have to go to for
February 8th. So you weren't there.
So
the worker came, didn't find you there, and according to your statement, what happened?
The next day,
yes,
she came out. She had called me like maybe 10:30 in the morning. She asked could she come see the baby. I said yes, she could. She came in. She seen the baby. We talked for a while. She was telling me what he says, that he wants his visits through a court order or whatever. She wanted to reschedule another visit. After she left, I received a phone call from John, He said, "I got you, I'm coming for you," and he hung up. And I immediately called the police after that, right after I hung up from him.
Did he come to your house?
No, he did not. I don't think so. He just called.
What do you mean
and
you
hung
don't
up.
think so?
Well, I heard a voice outside the window that sounded like his, but I didn't look out the window. I was on the phone with the police at the time.
Why did you call her the next day?
I never called her, Your Honor. The only people I called was the worker to inform the worker that I needed the worker to look into my daughter. I did not know where my daughter was. I didn't know if my daughter was okay. I want the workers to go out and check on her.
So you're saying that you didn't call her?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Well, your phone records would clearly show that. Did anybody look at your phone records?
I would imagine so, the police
You don't
and
know.
or my lawyer.
Mr. Rivers, it would be very easy for you to establish that you did not, in fact, place that phone call to her.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that would be by bringing in your phone records, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have them?
Well, we don't.
The answer is
I don't
yes
have
or
any
no?
phone records because, Your Honor, where I place my calls are at Crystal's house, and she has an arrangement, I believe, with the phone company where they don't put down that information where you place your calls, just toll calls, I would imagine.
But Mr.
my
Rivers,
lawyer,
Mr. Rivers, it sounds to me as if that's something that you might do, pick up the phone and get angry with her because she didn't bring the child.
Your Honor, I will constantly talk to the workers. If I had a problem with April, it was being dealt with the courts. I had no reason to contact
It's
April.
very hard for me to make a decision with regard to that, sir, without some proof, and proof can be easily obtained with the phone company. You can, in fact, subpoena the records of the phone company, and they will tell you from your phone, from her phone, from anybody else's phone, whether a phone call was made to her house on the 8th of February. Stop.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Rivers says the mother of his child, April Moore, had him falsely arrested for violating a restraining order. April says John threatened her.
Now, why was the case dismissed?
She decided to drop the charges, Your Honor, but...
Why is that?
I go in and out of court. Every month for the quarter. I go in and out of court every other month. We go every month for the custody of my daughter. I go through so much stuff with him, and I just didn't feel, the lawyer that I had at the time, because I didn't have a lawyer, I had to go and stand in the line, and I talked to a prosecutor. He advised me that it was best for me to drop the charges because I couldn't prove that he called me.
Right.
So, since I couldn't prove it, I dropped it.
And you really weren't afraid, right?
I was afraid at the time.
Why didn't, I get frustrated when people forget about visitation. I get really frustrated about that.
He cancels his visitations all the time, and it's okay with the courts. But when I really did. I truly
It's not even bothersome to you. Somebody picks up your daughter and takes your daughter someplace else. You don't even have to look at them. You just have to make her available.
I do. She's available. She's available most of the time. That's one visit that he was there for, and that I couldn't.
How many visits did you, in fact, bring your daughter for?
At least 5 or so.
How many?
Your Honor, I've seen my daughter in the past 6 months 8 times. And according to the courts, if I would have been allowed to see my daughter for the entire 6 months that she was awarded a restraining order for, it would have amounted to 22 hours. And the 6 months expired on the 5th of this month. And I must add, Your Honor, after I was arrested for violating a restraining order, Mrs. Moore came up to my residential area.
What do you mean she came up to your area?
She came up to it's an area called Manton Heights.
What was she doing there? Did she come to your house?
I have no idea what her intentions were to be there, but if she was so fearful of me...
You didn't speak to her?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I was
actually
told
ran
that he
from
was
her.
not living at... No, you did not see me. I was told that he was not living in Manton Heights anymore. I've been told that many a time. So if I was in the neighborhood, it had nothing to do with him.
I want to get to the counterclaim. Let me hear this nonsense. 1999, you bought a car.
Yes.
And you say it's your car. You
Yes,
say he
it
drove
is.
the car and he took it in for repairs a year and a half ago, right?
Yes.
Pay attention. And the car's still there because you can't get the car out because the repairs are so much. Is that right?
That's right.
And you want him to pay for the repairs?
He said he was going to pay for the repairs.
You want him to pay for the repairs?
Yes, I do.
Is that when you were living together?
Yes, it was.
Next, let's go to the clothes and furniture.
Well, the clothes, I have some of the receipts.
Who bought the clothes?
My mother did. My mother bought the bassinet that he took from my daughter, some of the personal belongings that he did not give back to my daughter. She bought most of this. She spent like at least $185 and stuff. Plus, there's stuff from the baby shower that I received that he did not return to me. And he took them in. When the same worker that comes to get my daughter to take to John for the visitations told me that he said that he's not going to give my daughter's items back because his the daughter that he has with Crystal, they share things. They share items, and he's not giving them back when my mother bought them.
Has the custody matter been resolved yet?
No, it has not.
Well, until the custody matter is resolved, then whoever is going to have the baby on a full-time basis should have that property. But right now, the baby has grown out of a bassinet. I'm sure a 10-month-old baby doesn't sleep in a bassinet.
Yeah, but at the time, that's when he had took it. He took clothes. The only thing they brought her back to me, they didn't bring her back to me with a bottle. They didn't bring her back to me with any milk. She didn't have a bib, anything. The
Who
only
was
thing she had
supporting your
something to sleep.
family when you were living together?
The state of Rhode Island, Your Honor.
How?
Through a program called FIP,
What's
Family
FIP?
Independent Program. It's like welfare, Your Honor. But, Your Honor...
Just a second. So, property that was purchased for the baby, for the most part, was purchased with state money. Is that right?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
I've just answered my question. Is that right?
No, it's not. My sister gave my mother money, and she gave the money to my mother. I was so upset when I was pregnant because he promised me that he was going to buy the crib, he was going to buy everything for my daughter, and he bought only a couple of items of clothing, and that was it. She didn't have a crib or anything before I was 9 months pregnant. My mother decided to
Let me
take
ask
me
you
to
this
Kmart.
question, Miss Moore.
Yes.
What did you expect him to use for money to buy the baby a crib?
He kept promising me that either he could borrow the money from his brother or he had SSI pending. He was supposed to be approved for SSI.
But he didn't get his SSI, so what did you expect him to buy the crib with?
He said that he would get the crib. He was going to
Well,
get
he
her
didn't get it.
if he...
He didn't get it. And right now you have a whole bunch of clothes that even if he has it in his house, it doesn't fit the baby. You have clothes at the house that belong?
Your Honor, the clothes that I have...
Just answer my
yes,
question.
Your Honor.
The answer is yes.
Yes, Your Honor, that I paid for.
That you paid for?
Yes, and I have the receipts right here, Your Honor.
Okay.
She said I brought a couple of items, you know, but this totals out to a great deal more, Your Honor.
Where did you get the money from?
I borrowed the money, Your Honor.
From whom?
My brother.
Well, that's possible. You borrowed some money, she borrowed some money because the two of you together didn't have enough money to make a baby. So, what do you want me to do?
When she was able to wear those clothes, there was months for where she was able to wear
She's
those
not
clothes.
able to wear them anymore. Some he bought, some with borrowed money, some you bought with borrowed money. That's not why you're here. You certainly wouldn't have brought this countersuit if he hadn't sued you for his bail money back, right?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that
I'm asking
could
you a
sue
question.
him for that.
I'm asking you a question. You didn't. I mean, you got a car in storage now for a year and a half. You didn't even know if it's still there.
It's still there when I went back to get the estimate for the car.
Yeah.
It's still there. He put it underneath his name, and he didn't put it underneath my name. They think that he was the owner of the car when he put the car.
Couldn't be in your name because you didn't have a driver's license, according to you. Is that right?
I had got the car registered, but I didn't have a.
You didn't
I had
have a
learner's
driver's
permit.
license, so you couldn't drive the car.
He didn't have one either.
Terrific. Then you shouldn't have owned a car.
He persuaded me to buy the car. He said that I need it for school, and he also had it, a favor for his friend.
Listen to me. I have absolutely no intention of ordering him to pay for the repairs on a car that's been sitting for a year and a half that's your car. None. And as far as the clothes are concerned, I don't know what pajamas or other things that are hanging around, but none of these things that were of an appropriate size in November are an appropriate size now. He says some of the stuff he bought and some of the stuff you bought. What about the bassinet?
Your Honor...
Just answer my question. Who bought the bassinet?
I have no clue who bought the bassinet,
Where is
Your
it?
Honor. She has the bassinet, Your
No,
Honor.
I do not.
The DCYF worker, she came over to the house after she was awarded my child, or our child, my apologies. And I gave the DCYF worker everything from pajamas, bottles...
Just a second.
No, he did not.
Are you telling me that you do not have the bassinet?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Since when?
Since
I mean, because
I
that could
gave
be the only thing that you could use again.
Since...
Maybe.
I had two bassinets at the house, one for both daughters. However,
no.
She has the bassinet, Your Honor. What she did with it, I have no idea.
I don't have any idea either. Listen, you two people can fight up a storm. You have a matter pending for custody. When is your next trial date?
It's been passed. I have to file a motion. I've been representing myself because I can't afford an attorney. Your Honor, if I may say...
You may say nothing. I don't want to hear anything else.
Okay.
What do you mean it's been passed? What does that mean?
It's been passed on the calendar because what happens is that we need the evaluation.
Gotcha. You have an initial evaluation from that case? I'm just curious.
No, we're waiting for Doctor to see me. Nothing's been provided to me.
Are you currently under supervision of Child Protective Services?
Yes, I am.
You have a caseworker?
Yes, I do. The same worker that takes my daughter back and forth.
And the worker comes to your house and visits?
Yes, she does.
Is this your only child?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Who do you live with?
My father.
Anybody else?
No, just my father.
Who do you live with?
I live with my roommate, Yana.
Who's your roommate? Why was there a sigh there, a hesitation, sir?
Why? Because I wasn't certain if I could use his name.
Uh-huh. Mr. Rivers, I believe that you called her very angry when you didn't get your visitation on February 8th. She may have overreacted when she called the police and said that you violated the order of protection by threatening her, but I believe that you actually called her, so you're not going to get your bail money back. I also believe that on your counterclaim, Ms. Moore, that this car business is old history. He's not paying for the repairs on your car. Forget it. What you want from him for the car is 3 times as much as you paid for the car to begin with. That you both paid
That's
for the car.
repairs.
I don't care what it is. It's 3 times as much as you paid for the car. You want almost $5,000 to repair a car that you paid $1,000 for. So don't be ridiculous. And as far as the clothes are concerned, they don't fit. Some he bought, some you bought. You both bought them with either borrowed money or state money. So you don't get your $5,000. You don't get it. That's all.
Your Honor, this is case number 84 on the calendar in the matter of Macumba versus Newby. You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
Ms. McCumber, according to the complaint that I have read, you were employed by the defendant as a babysitter for her 2 children, her little girl who was 5 and a baby who was a year and a half old. You claim that she fired you.
Yes.
She fired you owing you money.
Yes.
And she has some of your property. The defendant says that she owes you nothing and is counterclaiming because she says that because of your negligence, one of her children was hospitalized for 3 days. How did you come to work for her?
A friend of mine had gotten my number from her, and then she contacted me because I was going to start a child daycare center. And she didn't want to bring the children to my home, so I went to her home.
Are you a licensed daycare provider?
I'm getting my license.
So you are not a licensed
No.
daycare provider. Do you have your own children?
I have 1 son.
How old is your son?
He's 10 months.
So you would be watching 3 children.
Right.
And what was the salary arrangement?
I was supposed to get paid $15 a day for the baby and $12 a day for the 5-year-old.
So a total of $27 a day.
Correct. She was also to give me a 2-week notice if she wasn't gonna, if she was gonna have another babysitter.
Okay, is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
What's not correct?
There was no verbal agreement about a 2-week notice, either on my part or her part.
Okay. Were there any problems that occurred between the time you started to work for her, which was the 15th of February?
Correct.
And mid-April when you were fired?
There was a couple times where she had called me complaining that I was not taking care of her children right, that I wasn't giving them enough attention, I wasn't feeding them correct.
What happened in April?
I had to go and pick up my nephew from preschool, and I had told her on Monday I had to get him on Friday. And I took the children with me, and I had the baby and my son in a car seat, and I had the 5-year-old in the front seat with a seatbelt. When we got there, I went inside and grabbed my nephew.
That's not where you would normally put the 5-year-old, is that right?
No, I put her in the front seat just like her mom does.
There's no airbags in my car.
Go ahead.
When I got to the preschool, my son was sleeping, and the night before I had taken him to the emergency room. And I didn't get home until midnight, and my son did not sleep the rest of the night. So since he was sleeping, I didn't want to disturb him because it was the first time he had gotten to sleep. I knew I just had to go into the door, grab my nephew, and come right back out. So I didn't see any harm in leaving the 5-year-old with the 2 children since he was sleeping, running in and coming right back. I was gone maybe 1 to 2 minutes. That was it. Actually, the night before when I went to the emergency room, I had asked her to if she could find somebody else to watch her children because my son was so sick. She told me she would try to get her aunt.
Just a minute. We're going back. You left the 3 children in the car.
Correct.
And I assume you locked the car.
Yes.
Where do you live?
Kingman, Arizona.
What was the temperature in April?
It was probably like 80, 85 at the time.
Did you leave the car on or off?
I left it off with the windows rolled down.
With the windows rolled down?
The windows were up.
Just a second. So anybody could have come in the car in that minute or two?
There were people outside, and I had asked one of the teachers to watch the car.
How old was your nephew that you were picking up?
4.
Where did you put your nephew in the car?
In the back seat.
Strapped in?
Yes.
Why didn't you put her 5-year-old there?
Because I let her be in the front seat so she could see everything, and I figured since I was
she can't
watching
see
her...
a thing. She's 5 years old. She can't see over that. All she's looking at is the dashboard.
My nephew likes to be in the back seat with his cousin. That's why I put him back there. I always put him back there.
Have you picked your nephew up from school before with the children?
Yes.
With or without her permission?
With.
Is that right?
Before, not this time. Yes, this time was without my permission. I told her not to leave.
Okay.
That's not true.
Okay. What time did you get home with the children?
Noon.
Go ahead.
When I got back to the house, my son had gotten a higher temperature. I called Chastity at work to find out about, calling her aunt to be there. She told me that she couldn't call because she was too busy, that when her husband got home that I could have him call the aunt to see if the aunt could come. When he did come home, probably about 10 minutes after I called her, when he got out of the car, he started cussing, saying that he shouldn't have even came home.
So what did you do?
He told me to go ahead and leave. When I returned home, after being at the doctor's all day, my girlfriend was there because she comes over every day from when her husband works. When she called my girlfriend, she started cussing and saying I was a bad mother, that I was neglectful, and that I shouldn't have been able to babysit her children.
Did she speak to you?
I called her back. She told me that I neglected the children, that she was going to file a police report on me if I filed a small claims on her. She said that I shouldn't be allowed to watch children because I was unstable. Then she told me that she didn't want me to watch her kids again, and I told her fine.
Had you been paid for that week?
No, she did not pay me for that week.
And how many hours did you work that week?
I worked Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday, and Thursday.
You didn't work Thursday?
Half day.
Not even a half day. $27 a day?
Correct.
$81 for the 3 days?
Correct.
So what are you suing her for $415.98 for?
For the 2-week notice that we verbally agreed to, and she's got some of my belongings.
Now, what belongings do you claim she has?
She has a black sweater that I had left that day.
Do you have a black sweater of hers?
Not a black sweater. I have a stuffed animal dog of hers. I have a box of baby cereal and a little thing of juice. That's all I have
And
at
a
my
can
house.
of formula.
Oh, come on. You're talking about nonsense, Miss McCumber.
When it's $20 a can.
Wick pays for it, though, so...
Just a second. You have those things? You have some
Yes,
formula?
I do.
Fine. Put them in a shopping bag, and we'll make arrangements for those things to come back to her. All right. You want to tell me your version of the events
please.
that happened, and I assume you want to tell me something of your counterclaim.
Yes. Charity did watch my children for 2.5 months. Within that time, we had a couple problems. I asked her to feed my kids nutritionally. I didn't want them fed hot dogs or Pop-Tarts every single day, and that was one of the problems.
No.
And
don't interrupt her. She didn't interrupt you.
the reason I knew this is there was a couple occasions where I would always ask, how did the kids eat today? What did they eat? And she would tell me, oh, they had a cheese sandwich and applesauce. Well,
Miss Newby,
the applesauce jar wasn't even open, so she would lie about what she fed them.
Let me tell you this. Finding proper child care for working parents is a very difficult thing, and sometimes you know, blink and turn the other way if things aren't 100% perfect. But I would assume, Miss Newby, that if you felt as if she was really neglecting your children, you wouldn't have allowed her to watch your children for 2.5 months.
She had promised and said she would do better, that she wouldn't lie anymore, that she would take better care of the children, she would take my kids outside. And as far as her leaving with my kids in the car, that was another problem. She had gone 2 other times with my permission. She had called me at work, told me it was an emergency. I said, okay. Then I talked to her about it, and I told her I did not want it to happen again.
So you didn't give her permission?
She called me at work. She asked me, which she had already taken them, and I told her no. And when I got home, first my husband told me, you know, she brought the little boy over again today. She took him, and then my daughter told me they had been left in the car with the windows rolled up and the doors locked.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Charity McCumber says former client Chastity Newby owes her for babysitting fees and the return of personal belongings.
Go ahead.
My youngest daughter all week had a bad diaper rash, and every night I would come home and...
All week? You mean the last week?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
And I would come home, and by the next morning, I would have it just about gone, and then the next day I would come home, and it was back terribly, bleeding bad. She didn't have permission to take my children. She shouldn't have done it. She asked me. I told her, no, you don't leave children in a car under any circumstances.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Not even for a minute. Not for a minute or two, and it takes more than a minute or two to go in, sign a child out of daycare. Even if it takes 3 or 4 minutes, you don't leave 3 children in a car in 85-degree weather, locked in a car. Not for a minute. But you have a counterclaim. You want to tell me about the counterclaim you have?
My youngest daughter was severely dehydrated. I took her to the doctor Friday, and we tried to bring her back home and get her hydrated at home, which we couldn't do. She was back in the emergency room Saturday being IV'd. She ended up being admitted, and she stayed 3 nights, I believe, for dehydration. And I believe most of it was Charity's care.
It may be, but you understand for a counterclaim such as yours, you need some medical proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
The circumstance of her having been in the plaintiff's care and then being hospitalized doesn't necessarily make a case for a counterclaim. You understand that? Okay. So I'm going to have to dismiss your counterclaim, but I'm going to get to your claim. Ms. McCumber, I find that even if there was an agreement to give you 2 weeks' notice, you breached your contract of care for the defendant's 2 children when you took them without her permission. And even if you had her permission, if you took them on an errand and even for 30 seconds locked them in a car. Never, you will never, if they have this information, get a daycare license, because that is such poor judgment to leave a 5-year-old in a car watching 2 infants in a locked car. There is never an emergency that would permit that. And you did it because you didn't want to disturb your baby.
Correct.
Because, well, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. You had an obligation to disturb your baby's sleep, to take all 3 children out of the car, go into the daycare center, pick up your nephew if it was an emergency, come back and hope that your son fell back to sleep. But because you didn't want to inconvenience or disturb your son's sleep, you placed all 3 children at risk. So even if there was an agreement for 2 weeks' notice, I found that you breached your agreement to provide adequate care for the children. However, you have to pay her for the 3 days that she worked for you. Because if you were dissatisfied with her care of the children, and if you felt Monday that your daughter had a diaper rash, and you let her take care of your children on Tuesday, and the diaper rash came back and it was even more aggravated, and then Wednesday you let her do it again, that's poor judgment on your part.
Right.
Right? Sometimes necessity forces you to do that. But that's poor judgment on your part. That doesn't negate the fact that she performed a service for you for 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you owe her $81. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I tried to quit before, and you begged
she wouldn't
me.
let her.
No.
She begged her to
so,
come back.
Yep.
She didn't take care of them. She didn't feed them. She left them in a car on an 85-degree day. That's neglect.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ball versus Ball. Step forward, please.
36-year-old tanning salon owner Wanda Ball is suing her ex-husband, 40-year-old carpenter Gary Ball, for the cost of storing his belongings while he was in prison.
According to your complaint, your former husband was incarcerated for a period of time. While he was incarcerated, you paid for a storage unit for some of his property, and when he was released from jail, he refuses to pay you for the stuff that you were storing.
Correct.
What were the storage fees?
The total was $790.
And tell me how it came about that you started to pay for the storage unit.
When he was incarcerated, he had asked my son to take care of his storage, which had a bunch of his tools in it. What had happened is my son was with him when the police pulled Gary over, and they arrested Gary and took him to jail. My son is the one who had the key to the storage unit that Gary had gave to him.
Could you come up here for a moment? Tell me your name.
Keith Ball.
Keith, how old are you?
14.
Do you remember having a conversation with your dad about the things that he had in storage?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he tell you?
Just keep the storage for him, and that's all we have.
Did he give you the key?
Yeah.
When did he give you the key? Keith?
Before he went to the car.
Before he went to the police car?
Yeah.
Have a seat, Keith. Very good. All right. What was the next thing that you did?
The next thing that I did is I contacted his family. His family said that they were not going to pay for it. They were just going to let him lose $10,000 worth of his equipment that was in the storage unit.
Go ahead.
When he went to jail, he had made a collect call, and he contacted me and told me what was going on. I knew he was going to be sent away to prison for a year. Gary asked me to pay for the storage unit.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm ready for you.
Okay. Well, I'm a self-employed carpenter. Well, right now I'm working in a trailer factory. Me and Juana's been divorced for 12 years, but we actually have lived together 4 or 5 or 6 years. In between then, I've been to prison before in '96 for a year, and she took care of my
For what?
stuff for criminal mischief. She took
Right.
care of my stuff, and she gave my stuff back to me when I got out. And after that, we even got back together for a year or two.
All right, let's talk about this date, sir. You picked up in February of 2000. Your son's in the car with you. Were you picked up for a parole violation?
Probation.
Probation violation.
Right.
And what was the original charge?
A battery.
That's more than criminal mischief.
That's '96 was the criminal mischief.
Did you hand your son the key to the storage unit?
Yes, I did.
What did you say to your son?
To take care of this is our inheritance, this is our investment, that I'm going to be going to prison.
Well, you knew your son didn't have any money, right?
Right.
So you expected the plaintiff to pay for the storage unit.
Actually, we had talked on the phone, and we talked about selling the stuff.
Yes?
And
Is that what you wanted her to
she
do?
could give me much as money she wanted to, and she could keep the... that's what I asked her to do at first, to sell it.
Just a second. So at first you asked her to sell all your tools.
Right.
Well, that wouldn't give you a way of earning a living.
Right, but it would actually maybe give me a lawyer and make my sentence a little less.
Did you change your mind about selling your stuff?
Actually, I was glad she did, because actually I make more money with this equipment than I do working inside the factory.
So you've been out of prison now for 6 months,
Right.
and you make more money now.
Actually, I'm still in the trailer factory because my parole officer wants me to stay inside the factory, and she wants me to stay inside the factory because of the insurance, and she makes sure she gets a check every week for support.
You mean you work and you pay for child support?
Right.
Sounds right. Where are your tools now?
My tools are...
Now look at me. Where are your tools now?
My tools are in my sister's garage.
Why weren't they in your sister's garage before?
I asked them plenty of times to get with my brother and my sisters to get my tools out of there before they double locked it. Matter of fact, when I got out, it was double locked. She gave me the money to get the double lock off so that I could get my
How
tools
much
out of
did
it.
she give you?
$190, and I did give that $190 back to her.
Your Honor, he is lying. He never gave me $190.
All right, Mr. Ball, one must only assume that you paid for the storage unit because your sister's garage was not available at the time. Otherwise, somebody who's earning a moderate amount of money doesn't pay for a storage unit. So you intended to keep your stuff in the storage unit and use it as necessary. Is that a fair statement?
Right.
And the fact that you went to jail and she was very nice and paid for the storage unit for you while you were in jail because at 8 cents an hour you weren't going to be able to pay for it yourself, why should she be stuck behind the 8 ball for $790?
Well, actually, she really took care of something that's going to help her out. I do maintenance on her salons. I do maintenance on her rental properties.
Charge her.
Well,
He does
that's
not.
what
Just a minute, charge her.
that's what will happen.
Charge her. If she thinks your prices are too steep, she'll get somebody else to do it.
Right.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $790.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right, guys, case number 33 on the calendar in the matter of Castellano versus Moreno. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Miss Castellano, you're driving along in your car and you hear something.
Yes, I did.
Tell me, describe what you heard.
It was just a loud thump.
A thump?
Thump.
A thump. That's what you said in here.
Yes.
A thump. What did you do?
I immediately pulled over and I noticed that there was egg on my vehicle.
So an egg hit your car?
It looked like maybe more than one, but I don't know. Yes.
Well, it could have only been one egg because all you heard was one thump, right?
I believe so.
You heard one thump, you got out, you looked, and there was egg droppings on your car.
Yes.
And it is your claim that the defendant's son threw the egg that caused damage to your car, which you estimated over $2,000.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
that's
so what
the
makes you first think it was the defendant's son?
There was a group of children standing on the side of the road.
How many children?
Probably 3 or 4. And I went up to them and I said, you just threw something at my car. And they said, I'm sorry. And they seemed like they were a little bit afraid. And then the father came out, Mr. Marino came out, and I told him that I believe your children had thrown something at my vehicle. And then he talked to his son, and then he came back to me and said he would take full responsibility for it. He told me to get an estimate, get the car washed, and he would take care of it.
Ms. Castellano, let us assume for the moment that the defendant's son was involved in throwing an egg at your car. You're the son?
Yes.
Who threw the egg at the car?
Juan.
Juan. Who's Juan? Is that a friend of yours?
Yes.
Step up. Did you throw the egg at the car?
Yes.
Did he throw anything at the car?
No.
Why'd you throw an egg at her car?
It was an accident, cause.
You don't throw an egg by accident.
No, cause we played with an egg, and I threw it at him, and he like went down, and I threw the egg, and he hit the vehicle.
He hit the car. Did you tell this lady that you had hit her car with an egg?
No.
Why?
Cause I was afraid.
Did you know who hit the car with the egg?
Yes.
Did you admit that you hit the car with the egg?
No.
No. Okay. But you say the father said he would take care of the damage. Now, what I want to see, Ms. Castellano, is $2,369 caused by one egg hitting your car. That's what I found suspect.
It dented the vehicle, and that's why I thought maybe it was more than like a stone or something.
No, it was
It's
an
a
egg.
brand
You
new
saw
vehicle.
the egg on the car.
Yeah,
You said you saw the egg on the car. You heard one
Yes.
thump. So it was one thump, which was an egg. Not two, not stones, not rocks. You point to several different areas, madam. You've got dents in 2 spots on your car.
There is one major dent. Those are pictures that I did take of several different ways because it's a black Expedition.
No, you're
and
making circles in various places. One looks like on the bumper and one looks like on the side of the car.
There is on the side of the car scratches from what I brought it right over to get an estimate on this vehicle. And they noticed that there were, from the egg or the stone, whatever it was that was thrown at my car, I know it was an egg, but it could have been something else with that because it scratched the side of my vehicle. It's a brand new vehicle. And I agree with you. I thought that it was a lot of money. But
It is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And you're suing the wrong person for all this money.
My son's friends that were in the car know Mr. Marino's child.
Yes.
And he saw him do it.
Really?
That's
Who saw him do it? Raise your hand. Really? You saw him do it?
Yes.
This was during the day or at night?
It was at night.
What time at night?
I'd say around 9:30.
Who wants to go first? Perfect. Who are you?
My name is Brandon Castellano.
You know Juan?
I've never met them.
You've never met either one of them?
No.
And so tell me what you saw.
We were driving from San Diego, so we were
Yes.
coming home. I turned to the right, you know how you see people on the side when you're looking, and I seen someone throw the egg. I seen Hector Marino throw the egg.
You'd never seen him before?
No, but I can recognize him because I saw him.
Really?
Yes.
What was so clear about Mr. Marino that you know it was Mr. Marino as opposed to Juan?
Because I got a good look at him. He was wearing a white shirt.
So my question is, are you identifying him by virtue of the clothes he was wearing or his face?
Both. I've seen his face and his clothes.
When?
When I turned to the right and I seen him throw the egg.
When you went up to the house, did you go with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say to your mother?
I pointed him out and said that was the one that threw the egg.
Without question, you pointed him out?
Without question, I know, without a doubt.
Is that right?
No. He came up to me and was cussing at me.
At you?
Yes.
Was he cursing at anybody else?
Him.
What was he saying to Juan?
Like the F word and all that, and something about Mexicans.
According to you, Ms. Castellano, you said in your complaint, my son and his friends got out of the car and told the other boys, not boys, that they saw them throw something at my car. Little Hector Marino, Jr., that's you, said, I'm sorry. Did you say that?
I didn't say that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Castellano says 13-year-old Hector Moreno Jr. threw an egg at her car. She wants Hector Sr. to pay for the damage.
What did you say?
Nothing, because my dad came out and he said to go inside.
So what did your son tell you, Mr. Marino?
When I heard something, that somebody was yelling outside of my house, I went out. They said, what happened? I asked them. They say...
Who's they?
Them. Juan, his brother, and another two boys that they were. And I say, what happened? And he says, I don't know. And
Who's
then
they? One boy is talking to you. Your son spoke to you. What did he say to you, Mr. Marino?
I asked them.
You asked him. I want to know what you asked your son.
I asked my son, what happened?
And what did your son tell you?
He said, I don't know. He told me, I don't know. And I said, well, you don't know. What happened with the car? Because I saw she was something in the car. He says, I don't know. I said, get into the house. And then Ms. Castellano, she says, your son threw an egg to my car. And I asked them who did it. And everybody was...
I don't know.
Okay. And she says, there is the egg in my car, and you can feel the scratch in the chrome molding. And I say, it's okay. Take it to the car wash, and I pay for the car wash. Come back
She said
tomorrow.
you could see the scratch on the chrome molding.
Yes.
Not on the side of the car.
No. She put me, and she made me to feel the chrome molding. And I say, it's okay. Just take it to the car wash. You come back tomorrow, and during the day, we'll see the damage, and we'll see what we can do. 3 days later, she sent me a bill for $2,500.
Out of the question. It's out of the question even if your son threw an egg at her car. But you lied to your father because you knew what happened with the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you said, I don't know anything. You knew what happened.
Yeah, and then I told my mom inside. I told her what happened.
But you lied to your father.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you lied too when you said, I didn't know anything.
Because I was afraid.
Well, when did you finally tell the truth?
When he was like going to talk with us about the damage.
All right. What I want to see is the estimate that you have for this car, Mrs. Castellano.
I have the first estimate that I got.
Let me just take a look at it. I just want to see what these estimates generally look like. Point of impact, right front. 18 days to repair.
That's why I don't know if it was just an egg. I mean, I know I heard a thump, but it could have been a number of eggs. It could have been something because my car had nothing, no dent, no scratches in it before.
Miss Castellano.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm looking at the damages that you are attributing to this one thud on your car, where, according to the defendant's father, and you agreed with that you actually walked over with him and made him touch where the goo was of the egg. Right? You heard one thump, one. So unless there was some sort of rock or abrasive material plucked in this egg, which is highly doubtful, it was an egg that hit your car, not for $2,500 worth of damage on the bumper. It just doesn't happen. But in any event, I am not satisfied that this young man did it. I have another young man who acknowledges that he did. I think you ought to sue his family. And if the case comes before me, then we'll get down to more of the basics as to what kind of damage an egg causes to a car that requires 18 days to repair. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have the witness here that actually saw little Mr. Hector Marino throw it.
He didn't do that. It was his friend.
And now the next case.
All parties on Ugarte versus Espedia. Step forward, please.
37-year-old shutter builder Yvonne Ugarte is suing her ex-boyfriend, 37-year-old carpenter Victor Espedia, for unpaid bail money and the cost of a new car engine.
Ms. Ugarte, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship.
Yes.
And your lawsuit seeks two things. First, the return of a loan that you made to him for bail money.
Yes.
And the second is for $1,300 that you paid for a new engine for his car or truck.
Yes.
How much was the bail?
Well, it was $1,010, but what he owes me is $810.
Your defense is You say that you were arrested on a domestic violence charge having nothing to do with the plaintiff. You were thoroughly prepared to stay in jail until your arraignment. You didn't ask her to bail you out, and therefore you don't feel as if you owe her the bail money.
That's correct.
Right? And as far as the car engine was concerned, it is your claim that you exchanged gifts. You bought her a ring, and she bought you an engine. So you're even.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Were you living together at the time he was arrested?
Yes, he doesn't know this, but he's going to know now. He had a warrant, like he said, on domestic violence with his ex-mother of his other 5 kids. He was getting bad, using drugs with...
She's
okay.
lying.
Shh, just listen to me. Shh, don't know. He was arrested.
Okay, he was arrested.
Does he call you from jail?
Okay, yes, he called me at work.
And what did he say when he called you?
To go pick up $200 from his mother.
Right.
Your Honor?
Okay, I came up with $300.
No.
Okay.
He told you to go pick up $200 from
Yes.
his mother.
And he wanted me to bail him out. So
I told her to wait.
Don't interrupt again. Look at me. Did you hear me?
I understand.
Perfect. Okay, so you went to his mother's house and you picked up $200.
Yes. And then I got $300 of my own.
Yes.
And I went and picked up my friend, Cynthia, who's also co-signed to bail him out.
How much money did you put in?
$300.
So how does he owe you $810?
Well, because that's how much I have to pay back to the bail's bond man. I have everything here.
Let me see.
And that's everything that I've paid so far as receipts.
Okay, so you paid the money.
Yes.
Did you have any conversations when he came home?
Yes, we did.
Like what?
That we were going to go to my friend Cindy's house and say thank you because she didn't have to do that.
Did you go over to Cindy's house with him?
Yes, we did.
And what did he say to Cindy?
He told her thank you because she was the one with the credit.
And what happened with that case?
I got work project.
Did that case go to trial?
No.
So you pled guilty,
Right.
but you appeared in court when you were supposed to.
I appeared in court 3 days after she bailed me out. That's
Fine.
when I was supposed to go to court.
I understand
I asked her to wait until that court date to see if they were going to let me out or not.
That's
But
not
she went
true.
ahead and bailed me out anyways.
Did your mother give her $200?
Yes, she did.
Had you spoken to your mother from jail?
No.
Well, how did your mother know to give her the money?
I guess she called her.
You guess. Did you give your mother back the money?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. And that wasn't even a loan. You see how we get to the truth? All right. Now let's get to the car engine. Tell me about the car engine, Ms. Ugardi.
Okay, Victor and I had a deal that, which is all to benefit the family, had a baby coming, whatever, that if we went and got his engine for his truck, that he would, in return, when I bought the transmission for my car, he would put the transmission in my car, buy me a small ring, no engagement ring, a rinky-dink ring, and a computer at his own time. He agreed to that.
Okay.
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Shh.
So,
Say I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
so we went down and we purchased the engine.
Okay.
Okay. A couple days later, he was to sign up for work project on this domestic violence. Well, he went out partying, took my car. He doesn't have a license. He has to go through DUI classes. Ended up with my car for the whole weekend. I was pregnant at the time, stressing. He went and did his little habit with his friends.
So
I was like, okay, I got to get that engine back. I went down there because I didn't have the receipt. I couldn't get it. He got it.
So he got the engine. Did he
Yep.
buy you the ring?
No.
Yes, I did.
No.
Did you buy a transmission for your car?
No, not yet. I didn't.
Well, let me explain what your problem is. You were going to buy a transmission for your car, and he was going to put it in your car, and that would be payment for the engine, right?
Yes.
You haven't bought the transmission for your car yet.
I didn't see a need to when he took off with the engine and he wasn't going to put it in, so I was going to have to throw it in a shop.
I didn't tell you I wasn't.
Okay?
I'm waiting for you to buy it.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
Let me hear it again.
What? I'm sorry.
Perfect. Don't speak to her. Speak to me.
She's lying.
I don't think she's lying, sir.
Well,
I
Your
just
Honor-
don't, and you're not losing with regard to anything but the bail money so far. Bail money you lost, $810. That you have to give her back. You want her to stay in jail, you tell the jailer, don't take me out of here, I don't want to get bailed out. You don't do that, you pay the bail. You paid your mother, and she loves you. She don't love you anymore. How much was this ring he was supposed to buy you going to cost?
Not even over $50.
And what about the computer? Did you buy her a computer?
No, I didn't. Our deal was, she said, a ring or a computer.
Did you buy her either one?
Yes, I bought her a ring.
What kind of ring did you buy her?
It's a promise ring.
When did you buy it?
Valentine's Day last year.
And when did you buy the engine?
When-
Don't look at her. Look at me. When did she buy the engine for your
I
truck?
guess it was in December.
Was that before or after?
After.
After the promise ring.
Right.
Then you couldn't have made an agreement with her that you were going to buy her a promise ring in exchange for this engine. Do you understand?
Yes.
The dates don't match up. So you didn't buy her the computer,
No.
and you didn't buy her the ring.
Not yet.
I want it
I
now.
doubt it. I doubt it. Now, she says the ring, that you were going to spend only $50 for the ring. That's, should have said he was going to spend $500. That would have been better for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost to put in an engine?
$1,300 in the shop.
Just the
$1,200
labor part.
Oh, I'm not even sure. Gosh.
Well, then how am I supposed to know?
I
Am
don't know.
I don't know either.
500. I don't know what the labor is.
Meanwhile, you haven't bought it, so he can't renege on that part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how to do that?
Yes.
So, that's part of it. But you would have at least spent $200 for a ring, right? You wouldn't
Yeah.
buy her a ring
No.
for $50,
The other
right?
one was free
Right.
from his mom.
Right?
Right.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,010. That's all.
Yeah, this is case number 130 on the calendar in the matter of Lindstrom versus Kunkel. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
You are Mr. Lindstrom?
Correct.
You weren't there during the course of this argument that resulted in damage to a car that you own, that your daughter was driving. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you can have a seat. Ms. Lindstrom, the defendant was your boyfriend. I gather from your papers that you are in the process of breaking up with him. You decided to go over to his house. There was an argument. You decided to take some of your belongings. And an argument ensued. And the argument, I gather, was over a guitar that you were taking with you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the argument extended outside and resulted in your father's car getting dented.
Yes.
You say the defendant caused those dents to the car. Okay, so let's start. When was this argument?
April 5th.
Of this year.
Yes.
Now, when you went over to his apartment, had you already broken up?
It was actually his parents' house, and no, we hadn't.
So you went over there for the purpose of what?
Just to hang out.
And you got into an argument?
Yes.
About what?
Nothing in particular. We were just getting on each other's nerves.
So what did you do?
He asked me to leave, and I said I would leave if I could have my personal belongings back, because we assumed we would never be speaking to each other after that point.
And what personal belongings were you going to take?
I had a guitar, a VCR, and a Sony PlayStation, but at that point I was most concerned about the guitar because I still owed money on it.
Tell me about the guitar.
It's a $650 guitar I purchased from a store. I purchased it on a payment plan in which I still owed 2 more payments on.
Who plays the guitar?
Andy plays the guitar.
So you gave the guitar to him?
I bought it with the assumption that he would eventually pay me back for it.
You don't buy something under the assumption. When did you give him the guitar?
The day we bought it.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you buying the guitar.
We went to a store. We both picked out a guitar that we both liked. I actually traded in a guitar that I owned and paid the remainder of the money that was owed with a check. And there's 2 other checks that were going to be cashed at later dates to make up the remaining payment.
How did you get the guitar, sir?
She gave it to me and I brought it over to my house, and I'd been playing it for a couple of months.
What do you mean she gave it to you?
When we moved out of our apartment, she gave the guitar to me and said I could take it to my house.
And said you could take it to your house?
Yes.
Well, did she give it to you as a gift, or did she purchase it to share it?
I asked her to buy it for me as a gift and told her I would pay her back if she wanted me to, and that's what I assumed was going on.
You said 2 different things. You said she bought it for you as a gift, and you said you would pay her back.
The gift part of it was that she was going to pay for half of it and I was going to pay for the other half. That was like the original agreement we had when we went into the store to buy the guitar.
Is that right?
Considering that I had
given the guitar store my guitar that I had owned previously. That was the part I was paying for.
Is that right?
Yes.
Fine. So how much money was invested in the guitar?
Probably $450.
That you paid for?
Yes.
Okay. And the agreement was he was to pay you back for that?
Yes.
But he was going to keep the guitar?
Yes.
Did you make any payments to her?
I hadn't at the time that she came over. It was a little while after we'd moved out of our apartment, and the fight just happened, and she took the guitar, and I wanted it back.
Why hadn't you made any payments on it?
I hadn't gotten paid from work yet, so I didn't have any money.
So, Miss Lindstrom, based on your contract, you gave him the guitar.
Yes.
He was to make payments on it. So you had no right to take it from the house.
He hadn't made any payment on it.
You didn't have any time frame for the payments. Is that right?
Correct.
So you had no right to take the guitar. It could have been a lawsuit. You could have sued him for the $450. But the guitar was, in fact, his guitar. You understand that? If you didn't, I'm explaining it to you now. You may have still owed money on the guitar, but your agreement was he keeps the guitar, he gives you $450 at some time. That's a lawsuit. That means that if you went there to retrieve your property, he says, I'm keeping the guitar, fine, you still owe me $450, you go to small claims court, you sue him for $450, and if that's your agreement, which he says it was, you get your $450. So you had no right to take the guitar. So you went into the house, you took the guitar, and what happened?
He tried to get me to leave by using force. At one point, he was on top of me on the bed and was choking my neck.
Why didn't you leave when he told you to leave?
Because I wanted to take my things with me first.
The most important thing you said you were interested in taking was the guitar.
That's right.
Which I've already explained to you, you had no right to take. Okay, so what happened next?
I got a hold of the guitar and he said, fine, if you take it outside, I'm just going to follow you and take it back from you. So I went outside and he grabbed it from me. And I tried to go after him, but he pushed me down. And I got up and he pushed me down 3 more times. And then he turned around to go back into the house, and I grabbed a hold of his back. And he said, Jenny, if you don't let go of my back, I'm going to hit you over the head with the guitar.
So you grabbed hold of his back, which means that you were sort of piggyback, is that right?
Yes.
So your feet were off the ground?
Yes.
And you were holding on to him?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And after he said that, he laid me back down onto the hood of the car. So that
he laid you back down so that you would get off him?
Right.
Go ahead.
And then he got up off of me, and I got up and grabbed the guitar. And I ran around to the other side of the car, to the driver's side. And I got inside. I put the guitar and got inside the car. I shut the doors. I locked them. He looked really upset because I was in my car. There's nothing else he could do. At this point, he kicked off the passenger mirror of my car and then proceeded to kick the front passenger door and the back passenger door a few times. And then he went inside and his mother came out and asked if I was okay.
Do you have photographs of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
Right there.
Sorry.
Is this a picture of the hood of the car?
Yes.
Is there a dent in the hood of the car?
There are several small dents. The picture
Is
doesn't
that-
really show.
Is that from when you fell on the car? That you pay for?
Okay.
Let me hear your version of the events.
What happened was she came over to my house and we were just watching TV, and I asked her to leave several times over and over again. The only force I used to try and get her out of the house was I picked her up and carried her, and I got her outside finally to leave, and she took my guitar with her, so I went and got it back, and she continued to jump at me, try and get it back. She jumped on my back. I pushed her onto the hood of the car because I wanted her off my back. I don't know if I kicked the car during the struggle on accident because she kept attacking me, but...
The hood is during the course of the struggle. The kicks to the car aren't during the course of the struggle.
No, the struggle happened all around the car in my front yard. He was the only other person there that saw it. My mom didn't even come outside till afterwards.
Were you there all the time?
Yes.
Step up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Jennifer Lindstrom says ex-boyfriend Andy Kunkel owes for an assault and for kicking her car.
Tell me your name.
Tony Vaitkunis.
Tell me what you saw, sir.
I came over, I guess they had been fighting. I came over right when they went outside, and they were running around the car, shouting at each other, and she jumped up on his back, and I saw the money later on the hood of the car. I did not see him kick the car. I don't know anything about that. That came up when Andy got the papers that they were suing him. The fight was pretty much Andy saying, give me my guitar back, and her saying no, and him saying, get away from me, and her running after him and wouldn't just leave.
Okay, let me see the estimates for the car, please. All right, we're eliminating the hood. Do you know why we're eliminating the hood?
I know why you think it should be eliminated, yes.
You jumped on his back. He had to get you off his back.
Not
What do you want him to
throw
do,
me
hit
on
you in
the-
the head with the guitar?
No.
Okay. So?
But would that have been my fault too, if he hit me on the head with the guitar?
Absolutely. He was stealing his guitar. Listen to me. The law doesn't take emotions into account. The law says it's his house. He asked you to leave. You didn't want to leave. He finally told you to leave. You finally said you would leave, and you took his property. Now, he has a right to get his property back. You want to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He was not, that was his mother's house. He was not living there at the time, so
Yes, I was.
for him to say that he was not living at the home is incorrect.
Now, living at what home?
In his mother's home. He was not living there.
Well, his property was there. And he, as opposed to your daughter, at the time that she was told to leave by someone who has presumptive authority to be in the home, once she comes in with permission, but when she's told to leave, then it becomes a trespass if she doesn't leave. But your daughter had no right to take this guitar. The guitar had been given to the defendant. The fact that he owed her money is handled in a civil way. That's the way we resolve disputes in this country. She walks out the door, she gets into her car, she may be furious, but she gets into the car, and she says, I'm going to sue him for the $450 because that's what he owes me for the guitar. And he promised he would pay me back for the guitar.
Can I say something there?
Yes.
It was my belief that it would not become his guitar until he paid me back for it.
What your belief is irrelevant unless there is an agreement. And I guarantee you that when this guitar was purchased, you did not say to him, you may have physical possession of the guitar, but the guitar does not become yours legally until you pay me the money. You didn't say that to him, did you?
I said something similar, yes.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's not what a boyfriend and a girlfriend say to each other. It's not what even friends say to each other. They say, you'll pay me back? You know, I'm going to lay this out, but you'll pay me back for it? Yes, I will. That's it. So, the fact that he had to get you off his back and you dented the hood of your dad's car, you have to be responsible for that. But I find that you did, in fact, kick this car. You were angry because she had your guitar in the car, and you were angry.
She didn't have it in the car until she drove off.
Yes, and that's when she says you kicked the car.
No, because she didn't drive off until after my mom came outside, and when my mother came outside, I went back in the house.
Before your mother came outside, you kicked the car. Clearly, this car was kicked. This is not just pushing somebody against the side door. There's a difference between a side door of the car and the hood of the car.
I didn't say that I pushed her into it. I said during the struggle it might have accidentally happened.
Could have happened. I find that it didn't. And he probably should have let her, just on an emotional basis, let her take the guitar and go and sue for it later. If you feel as if it was yours, then you would have sued her and she would have said, we had an agreement. When he gives me the $450, you can have the guitar. Right?
Yes.
So somebody's got to pay for this man's car. His daughter's going to pay for part of it, for the hood of the car, but you're going to pay for the sides, which comes to $957, judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was fine. I think she was fair in what the decision was.
The judge made some valid points, but that it was still unfair.
Make legal binding contracts when you buy a gift for somebody, I guess.
Don't lend money.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Flores versus Flores. Step forward.
27-year-old store clerk Patricia Flores is suing her sister-in-law, 25-year-old customer service rep Sonia Flores, for kicking her car. Sonia says Patricia was parked outside her home and she was trying to get her to leave.
Mrs. Flores, the defendant is your sister-in-law.
Correct.
And according to your complaint, you went over to your mother-in-law's house to pick up your husband.
Correct.
When was that?
March 31st.
And you were in your car?
Correct.
And your sister-in-law came either home or came out of the house.
No, she was driving up, going home.
She was coming home. She saw your car parked. You were waiting for him outside?
Correct.
And she came up to your car, started an argument, and then kicked your car.
Correct.
Damaging your car.
Correct.
You want her to pay for the damage.
Correct.
She says, I don't know, she merely tapped at your window and told you to go away. Had you had a problem with your sister-in-law before this?
No, I haven't had a problem with her before, but when I married my husband, she never liked me.
When were you married?
February the 27th.
Okay. Now, what did your sister-in-law say to you when she came up to the car?
She said kind of verbal names.
Tell me what she said. When she walked up to the car?
Yes.
Any reason for that?
Well, the reason is that apparently my two friends that I had before were my friends, not anymore, had told her that I was with her boyfriend, which it wasn't even her boyfriend.
You mean before you were married?
Before I was married, yeah.
So that's why you think she doesn't like you?
Correct.
Now, Miss Flores, why did you go up to the car and tell her to leave?
Because she's not really welcome at our house.
Not welcome by whom?
By my whole family that lives at my house.
Well, what does that have to do with you?
Well, I really don't like her because the way she is. She sleeps around and
What's that your business?
I know it's not my business, but it is my brother, and
So it's not your business?
I know.
So what did you go up to her car for?
I was telling her to leave. Basically.
She was waiting for her husband.
Yes, but my mom even told my brother she's not welcome there.
She wasn't in the house.
I know, but she was outside and still, it's still in front of the house and telling her not.
You have pictures of the damage to the car?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Did she kick the car with you in the car?
Yes, she did.
Go ahead.
I went up to the car after work. This is around 5:30. And I tapped on the car, and yes, I was calling her names. And she did sleep with a friend of mine.
I'm not interested in who she slept with, madam. Couldn't be less interested.
All right.
So you're calling her all kinds of names?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
And then I was telling her to leave. She was ignoring me, and I kept telling her to leave. After a while, I decided, all right, this is enough. I turned around, and I walked back to my car. When I got something from my car, I walked back to the house, and then that's when my brother came out of the house, and she was saying that I kicked her car, where I don't know why she would say that.
She said it because you did it.
And
she said it because you did it. That's why she said it.
I didn't do it.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. Because she was ignoring you. She was just sitting there. You were calling her all kinds of names. You were telling her to leave. She wasn't leaving. She was waiting for her husband. You got really frustrated, and you kicked her car.
Well, it is a used car. That dent could have been there already.
Yeah, well, it's possible, except that you did it.
I didn't do it.
Oh, yes, you did. You know why I know you did it?
How?
Because here you are. You're at your home. She's not in your home. She's sitting outside your home. You know exactly why she's there. She's there to pick up her husband. She's not invading your home. She's not invading your space. You say in your answer that you merely walked up to the window and tapped on the window and said, "You're not welcome here." But that's not what you said to her. You called her all kinds of names.
Yes, I did.
And if you called her all kinds of names and she was, as you put it, ignoring you, and I think you even said here something about giving you dirty looks,
yes,
then somebody with your kind of temper who was calling her all kinds of abominable names and telling her to get off her property would not just turn around and walk away. You may turn around and walk away after you gave her car a little kick, but not without that. You married?
No, I'm not.
Anybody else in your family married?
I have 4 brothers. They're all married.
Any of your brothers divorced?
No.
You like all the other wives?
Yes, I do.
Either you better learn to like this one or just to get along with her. It's not your choice. It's his choice. Not your choice, not your mother's choice, not your father's choice, not your sister's choice, not your brother's choice, nobody else's choice. It's his choice.
To be married to her?
That's right.
But it's also my choice whether I want to like her or not, and I choose not to like her.
You don't have to like her. You have to be civil to her.
That's if I like her. I don't like her.
Fine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $596. That's all.
Case number 166 on the calendar in the matter of Griffith versus Fritz. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mrs. Fritz, you are really here as what I call a nominal defendant. You are suing on behalf of your son over repercussions of this incident. Is that right?
That's correct.
Kevin, step up here, please. Mrs. Fritz, I'd like you to have a seat.
Thank you.
Mr. Griffiths, back in February of 2000, there was an incident that started at a gas station. As a result of that incident, it was your claim that the defendant severely assaulted you. He was arrested. That case went to trial. He was convicted. That case was appealed once. Your appeal was denied. It was appealed again. And just recently, the conviction was overturned, and you were acquitted of the charges. You are now suing the defendant civilly for the injuries that you sustained as a result of this altercation. And there is a cross-claim by Mrs. Fritz, because it is their claim that your actions instigated this incident, and she and her family and her son were put through well over a year of torture. So, Mr. Griffin, I'd like you to tell me your version of the events of the 7th of February, 2000.
Okay, I was filling up my truck. I had a truck and trailer.
At a gas station?
At a gas station. I started to walk around my trailer on the driver's side, and Kevin Fritz was driving a vehicle that spun out real recklessly. He almost hit me.
Okay, he didn't hit you.
No, it was so close, I was scared. I was scared to death. I yelled. Jesse Letterman.
Someone in the passenger seat.
In the passenger seat. Started yelling obscenities. I got upset. I was scared. I thought he was going to pull a weapon. I used necessary force.
No. Don't tell me you used necessary force. What did you do?
I slapped him across the face.
So you walked up to the car.
It was real close.
You had to have walked
I made a step, ma'am.
Towards the car?
Yes, ma'am.
You reached into the car and slapped the passenger.
After I heard him reaching for something.
Don't make things up, Mr. Griffin.
I'm not,
Listen to
ma'am.
me. You didn't hear him reach for anything. I've been in this business a long time. You slapped him. You didn't hurt him, I assume, but you slapped him with an open hand?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened next?
He exited the vehicle, went into the store, and called the police, from what I know.
So he got out of the car. He didn't confront you.
Oh, he confronted me, ma'am. He was yelling.
How did he confront you?
He was cussing. He was yelling, saying he's going to go call the police.
And that's what he did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What happened next?
He came out of the store. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him making a fist up like he was going to hit me, and I dropped him on his butt. I did a slide kick and dropped him on his butt.
Okay, let's do this slowly. Had you finished with your car, filling up your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he say anything to you?
Oh, yeah, he was cussing.
And the next physical thing that happened was what?
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him reaching up to hit me, and I drop slide kicked him, put him on the ground.
What happened next?
Kevin Fritz ran up from behind, from what witnesses say. But
You didn't see anything else?
I didn't see anything till after.
That's the last thing you remember, drop kicking his friend to the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you woke up?
No, ma'am, no. I'd never lost consciousness. What happened was Kevin Fritz came from behind, from what witnesses say.
You can't tell me what witnesses say, sir.
But this is the key fact. I remember him hitting me in the forehead where I've got a permanent scar, and I remember seeing him.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't think that he denies that. Is that right?
That's right.
Did the police arrive subsequently?
Shortly after.
You have the police reports?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them.
There's some medical records in here, ma'am.
I'd like to see those.
I want to keep them confidential.
Okay. Were you with anyone else, sir?
Yes, I was.
What's the name of the person you were with?
Daniel.
All right, Mr. Fritz, I'd like to hear your version of these events. You and your friends are driving in a car, perhaps a little too quickly. What happened next?
I was the one driving. Jesse was a passenger, obviously. We had Amber, a friend of ours, in the back. We heard just screaming. It was cussing and vulgarities. And we looked outside, and there he was, like 20 feet away, screaming at us, and we didn't know what for, so we, obviously started screaming back. And as he went up to the car, just Jesse reaches to roll up the window, shut him out.
What'd you go into the gas station for in the first place?
We were using the phone. And as we pull off, we hear him screaming and cussing. And Jesse reaches to roll up the window because, you know, you're thinking, what is he doing, blah, blah, blah. And he slaps him. So I put the car in reverse. We pull back up to the phone that we were just at. And we're like, all right, that's assault, Jesse. Go call the police. He walks into the Dodge store to use the telephone. And as he walks out...
And you're sitting in the car?
Yes, me and Amber.
While you were sitting in the car, did you notice where Mr. Griffiths was?
Yes, he walked back to his truck as Jesse went into the store.
Where did he go when he came out?
He got about 10 feet away before they started arguing. Jesse told him he just called the police. Don't take off. The police are coming. I'm going to file a charge on you, you know, assault. Me and Amber were talking, and second I looked up, all I knew is Mr. Griffith and his buddy were hovering over Jesse, and he was on the ground.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Hondo Griffiths claims 19-year-old Kevin Fritz attacked him with a socket wrench. Kevin says he was defending his friend.
What did you do?
Whenever I looked up, I just saw him on the ground, and I knew I had no idea what they had done to him. I just knew he was on the ground or whatever else. I grabbed a socket wrench that was under the front seat and ran over there screaming at him and got no response, to where I hit him and his buddy came around Jesse swinging at me like, oh, crazy or whatever. Hit me one time, and so I retaliated and hit him. And I got Jesse, and I was like, all right, let's go to the car. The cops are coming anyway, because I didn't know if they had a gun in the car or a knife, or if they're going to retaliate back on what I just had done. Anything's possible after that point. So we take off, get less than a block away, and they tell us to come back to the store. We did.
But Jesse.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear you. The first thing that happened that you remember, first physical contact, was being slapped by Mr. Griffin. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me how that happened.
Like Kevin said, I was in the car, and we were driving off, and we heard somebody yelling at us, and we didn't know what it was for. Realized he was shouting about the way we were driving, because I listened to part of what he said, and I shouted back at him, and he comes up to the window. He's shouting right by the window, I guess, for like 10 seconds or so, and I don't want him in my face anymore, so I reach to roll up the window, and he slaps me at that point, and so I get out of the car.
You got angry, as you rightfully should have. Got out and made a phone call and called the police. Now, I want you to tell me what happened when you came out.
Well, I came out of the building, and I notified them that I had called the police.
What did you say to him?
I said, well, before I went in the building, I told him I was going to call the cops. And I told them that they were on their way to stay here. And we started yelling. I can't remember exactly what we were saying. We were still really, adrenaline was pumping. We were still really just going at it. And then he came up to me and like punched me like this, you know, on my chest, and then sweat kicked me on my feet and got me on the ground.
What happened when you fell to the ground?
He got even closer and just stood over me like this and looking down at me. And
Did you see a second person?
Yes, ma'am. He basically followed what Honda was doing and stood over me.
Just stood over you?
Stood over me.
Are you in possession of any other police reports?
I think we have some, yeah.
Ask your mom if she can help you. I want to make sure I have them all.
It's all spread out.
This is it right here. That's a police report.
Do you want me to bring it up to you?
What are you doing with a wrench in the car?
It was actually supposed to be in the trunk at the time, and we had used it before to help somebody with changing out a tire or something, and we just kept it in the front.
Did you keep it in the front for protection, Mr. Fritz?
It wasn't my car.
Whose car was it?
Jesse's.
So it was your car? You
Yes,
keep
ma'am.
that wrench in front there for protection?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. Don't bull me, please, because that's not a smart thing to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? If you were older, it wouldn't be smarter. At your age, to try to fool me is really an act of stupidity. You have the appellate decision?
Yes.
This isn't the appellate decision.
That is what they gave us. In January 31st, we went back to court, and it was dismissed. I do have, though, from the Tennessee Claims Commission, Hondo evidently tried to get victims' compensation, and he was denied that because it was obvious that it was his fault.
Mr. Fritz, how many days did you spend in juvenile detention?
32 days.
Was that your first time in juvenile detention?
No, it wasn't.
When was the time immediately preceding that?
When I was 16.
For what?
Unruly. It was actually a runaway charge.
Other than the, what we call a person in need of supervision, unruly, had you ever been arrested for a crime before?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
Again, when I was 16.
For what?
It was a DUI.
So one DUI, one incorrigible, and one assault.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, by the time you're 16. And what about you, Mr. Letterman?
Yes, ma'am. I had been arrested for petty theft at a gas station.
Is that your only arrest, Mr. Letterman?
Yes, ma'am. At that time it was.
And now?
No.
What do you mean at that time?
Well, at that time it was, I had a little bout with the credit card that they gave me checks for, and I wrote them for over the amount, so they got treated as personal checks. And I got 2 arrests for those.
Bad checks?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old were you when you had these bad checks?
I wrote them when I was like 18, I guess, and they just came through and served a warrant on them.
You should never give kids who are 18 years old a credit card and those blank checks. You had a bench trial with regard to this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And the judge found you guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did your family hire a lawyer, or did you use a state lawyer?
We had an attorney.
Did you pay the attorney?
Yes, we did.
How much?
I'm not sure.
We had a public defender at that time.
You had a public defender.
Oh, all right. Well, I was a juvenile, yeah. Public defender.
Mr. Fritz, I'm going to give you some very good advice that's going to last you for a long time. Sometimes people have problems saying these words, but I want you to listen to them very carefully. I don't know. When somebody asks you a question and you really don't have the information, you don't make something up. You say, I don't know.
Okay.
Guys sometimes have a problem saying that. So they make up things.
All right.
And we call them a Fritz fact. You know.
Say that again?
We'd call that a Fritz fact rather than the truth.
A Fritz fact?
A Fritz fact. That's your last name. It's a Fritz fact.
Right.
Not necessarily true, but something that you made up. So when I ask you a question, I expect an answer.
I was pretty sure that we had hired him, so I didn't know.
Well, I guarantee you that if your family had spent $15,000 or $20,000 on a lawyer, you would have known.
Yeah, I'd probably hear about it.
All right, Mr. Griffith. All boils down to this. Did your actions precipitate what happened that day? And if they did they precipitate them to the extent that the defendant was justified in taking the action he did?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I think they did. You did not go up to this car and slap this young man for the purposes of defending yourself. If you did, given what little we know about you, you were in the Marine Corps?
No, ma'am.
Military?
Yes, ma'am.
You would have grabbed him by the collar, pulled him out of the car if you felt as if you were in danger.
Not necessarily so, ma'am.
Oh, well, that's what I think. And what I think is the only thing that's important. What you did was you humiliated him. You were shouting obscenities at each other. You approached the passenger side of the car, and you slapped him. You can't do that.
May I say something, please?
No, you told me your story. You have absolutely no right, because you could have extricated yourself very easily from the situation by getting in your truck, which was already filled up with gas, and leaving. Chose not to do that. You chose to continue to engage in a confrontation, and you went up there, and the first physical movement was you touching him. Now, you didn't hurt him. You slapped him. You humiliated him. And what did he do? He did not get out of the car to punch you. He said, I'm going in to call the police. Did what he was supposed to do. Now, you would have me believe, Mr. Griffith, that after he went inside and called the police to come and respond because he had been assaulted, his intention was to come outside and assault you while he was waiting for the police to come. Because that's what you said to me. You said he came out and he had a fist up as if he was going to hit me. Doesn't make sense. I mean, he may be a stupid kid, but he's not crazy. You don't call the police and then assault.
I'm sorry.
We'll get to your case in a minute. You don't do that. No normal person does that. Calls the police and said, well, now I'm going to assault him and really give it to him. You were still angry, and you kicked him. That was the second physical contact initiated by you, Mr. Griffin. And then your friend came over, and now there are two people over him. All he sees is his friend down, being hit for the second time.
It's not true, ma'am.
That's what you told me.
I didn't say anything about afterwards. My friend ran up to protect me and tackled him.
No. Sir, you just testified, Mr. Griffin, that he came out of the store, you were yelling and screaming back at one another, he balled up a fist as if he was going to hit you, and you drop-kicked him to the ground. When Mr. Fritz turned around and saw you and around him, knowing you had slapped him before, and for one reason or another, he's down on the ground now, he took action to protect his friend. And that's what the appellate court, in all probability, said, that this was an unfortunate incident, but certainly not one for which he should be held criminally responsible, because the physical part of this altercation was initiated by you. So, sir, your complaint is dismissed. Now let us get to your counterclaim, which is also dismissed. Because as cute as you are here today, I have a feeling you're a wise guy. Now, was there another way that you could have dealt with this other than hitting him over the head with a socket wrench? Perhaps. Perhaps. Do I think that you were maybe a little bit out of control that day, driving your car in a fashion that almost hurt Mr. Griffith? Perhaps. The justice system worked because you were found guilty by one judge beyond a reasonable doubt. The second appeal, which they went over all of the records, which they clearly found that there was substantial evidence, not evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, substantial evidence, far more evidence than I need at this trial, found that you were guilty. I certainly hope that the next 30 or 40 years of your life is spent outside the court system. Are you living at home now?
No, ma'am.
Where are you living?
In an apartment.
How old are you?
19.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a cook at Hooters.
See what I mean? Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Yeah, this is case number 164 on the calendar in the matter of Conklin Bressler versus Canarick.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young man, have a seat.
Mr. Conklin, you were present during the course of this incident, but you were not. Is that right?
Yes.
You are here only because the car in question is titled in your name.
Yes.
All right, why don't you have a seat? Mr. Conklin, it is your claim, according to the papers that you filed, that the defendant's son, that would be you, damaged your car with a shovel, intentionally hitting your car with a shovel.
Yes.
This happened at their home during an altercation. They are counterclaiming for damage that you allegedly did to an all-terrain vehicle, as well as harassment and assault. So first tell me, how do you know the defendant and his son?
Well, we're good friends for the last 4 or 5 years, and he helped me with a job. And
what do you mean he helped you with a job?
Working at a shop, you know, because I was out of work, and I'm in construction, so it was tight.
What were you doing at his house?
I was doing work for him, doing spackling, and I went over one Sunday. I said, and I was talking to him, see how he's doing, and his son, 12-year-old son, was driving his quad up and down the street.
He's driving his
motorcycle, four-wheeler.
Is that this young man here?
Yes, Jonathan. I stayed approximately 15, 20 minutes. I was like, all right, Steve, you know, I'm going to go. I got in my car, started it up. It was still in park. His son comes down the road.
The little boy?
Yeah, the little boy.
Step up here. Yes?
And he pushes his quad, his motorcycle, against my front end of my car. He rips off the license plate and also the frame of the license plate, and I had to get it re-fiberglassed.
Did he do that on purpose?
He was pushing against my car when I was in it. I was still in park. And then he backs up and everything comes off.
So what happened after he did that? You were in the car?
I was in the car. The father's girlfriend has grandsons. They were over at the house. They were yelling that the license plate was off. And I got out of the car. I looked at it. I grabbed his son. And I held him.
Just a second. How did you grab his son?
By the shoulders. And I held him. And
how did you hold him?
I held him by the shoulders with one hand.
Show me.
Like this, with one hand. and was yelling at him, putting the license plate. I knew he was not going to put the license plate back on.
So you put your hands on him, and you were yelling at him.
And then he started...
Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Okay. And then he started crying, so I let him go. The quad was in front of my car, so I got on the quad to move the motorcycle and so I can leave, because the father was pushing me after that incident.
Just a minute. We're not there yet. The little boy starts to cry because you were holding him and yelling at him.
Yeah.
You let him go.
Yes.
Where did he go?
He ran in the house.
And what's the very next thing that happened, Mr. Conklin?
His father came over, started pushing...
That's this gentleman
yes.
here.
Started pushing me. His girlfriend started coming over and pushing me. I give him
just a second. What were they saying to you when he...
Get out of here, get out of here. You know, and I was like, Steve, are you going to pay for this? Are you going to pay for this? And he was like, get out of here, we'll talk later. And it was just all big confusion.
Oh, I'm going to make it very unconfusing. So the father is yelling at you to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You assumed his father was yelling at you because he would put your hands on his son. Is that right?
Yeah, but then...
Is that right?
Yes.
That's why he was yelling at you, because his son ran back into the house crying.
He attacked me. He did not take me by the shoulders.
Tell me what he did. Tell me your first name.
John?
Yes, John. Tell me what he did.
He got out of the car. And, he took me by the neck and smashed my head against the car saying, fix it. How would I be able to fix the car if he was attacking?
Your Honor, that's not true. I have the police report from the statements from the police. I have his report and also mine.
I'd like to see it.
And it says that I grabbed him and there would be no charges against him.
Just a second.
Or me,
Just
because
a
I just
second.
grabbed him.
Just a second. It says you grabbed him. The boy says that you grabbed him and hit his head against the car.
That's not true.
But you did grab him.
Yeah, I did grab him.
And you did yell at him.
Yes.
Wrong. You have no right to do that. And he's upset thinking about it now, which means that it was a very upsetting experience for him. Let's say you're in a car accident with somebody. You get out of your car and you grab them?
No, you...
Of course not. You don't put your hands on them, right?
Your
What
Honor,
gives you the right to put your hands on him?
I was just trying to scare him. I knew he was not going to put the license plate back on.
Why were you trying to scare him?
Because he was careless by pushing the car, and he kept on doing it, trying to muscle the car away. And then he pushes it back, and the license plate and everything comes off. And he's laughing and laughing. And I just grabbed him and said, "You going to put it back on?" And he starts crying, and I let him go.
Yeah, okay. So let's get to the damage to your car, sir.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Just a second. We're going to get to you.
Okay.
I guarantee it. Go ahead.
When the officers came to my house...
No, I don't want to hear officers come to your house. We haven't gotten to the part, sir, where you say that your car was hit with a shovel. Get to it.
Okay.
Father comes out and tells you to get out of here.
The father was outside, and he's grabbing me, pushing me with his girlfriend. I get on the car so I can move it. He's grabbing me, pulling me. So I get off the quad, and it got flipped.
Just a minute. You got off the quad, which is his motorcycle.
Yes.
But it's a child's motorcycle.
No, it's a fully sized quad. It's a four-wheeler. It's a full-grown sized motorcycle.
Do you know what that looks like?
Yeah. Your Honor, I have pictures if you'd like to see.
I'd like to see it. Make it easier for me.
Pretty big size.
Okay. So you got on this thing, and then...
Try to put it in neutral.
Try to put it in neutral, and the father came out, and you flipped it.
Yes.
You flipped this thing.
Yes. To get it out of the way so I can leave, because his father and his girlfriend was pushing me, telling me to get out of here, and that's what I was planning to do, and it was in front of the car still, and I could not move, because there was another car behind mine.
Okay. Did you say to them, would you move that thing, and then I'll leave?
Oh, yes, I did.
So you picked it up and flipped it.
Just flipped it so it can move out of my way.
When you flipped it, did it land right side up?
It landed back side up. The front bars.
Now, it would seem to me that if you could flip it, you could just pull it out of the way. Is that right?
True, but
Just a second. You could just pull it out of the way. If it's flippable, it's pullable.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alan Conklin says his car was damaged and vandalized during a visit to the home of Stephen Cannery. Stephen says Alan attacked his 13-year-old son, Jonathan.
So you flipped it. Go ahead.
And flipped it.
And damaged it.
Damaged it, the handlebars.
Go ahead.
And the father started pushing me. The girlfriend
I heard
also.
the father pushed you. I heard the girlfriend pushed you. I heard.
So I give him one little push. He does a backwards tumblesort on the ground.
Who does?
The father.
Yes.
And the girlfriend of the father went in the house, called the police. Then his older son, Andrew, came outside the house with a shovel, started swinging it, hit my car. In the meantime, I'm fighting the father, but he's pushing me and everything. I take the shovel away from Andrew, the son. I take it and I throw it. Then he picks up a scooter and starts swinging it at me. So I push them both. I get in the car and I leave. And when I'm leaving, the son goes and picks the shovel up again and hits the back of my car while I'm leaving.
Now I'll hear you.
Your Honor, I've been a good deeder in a sense to help Alan out over the years since I've known him. True, when he needed a job, I found him a job. I even gave him a job. 2 weeks prior to this incident, both Alan and Julie needed a place to live. Evidently...
Your Honor, that's not relevant to the case.
I'm not...
Sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Evidently, Alan and Julie needed a place to stay. She being pregnant, they were living with Julie's father and mother and were asked to leave. I allowed them to stay in my home. I had to ask them to leave about a week after they moved in because Alan got violent with Julie. And not only did he physically grab her...
Your Honor, that's not true.
Excuse me, I'm talking now.
Just a second.
Okay.
Do I need help?
No.
Sorry.
Good. Don't do it again.
Okay.
He verbally assaulted her by calling her some graphic names, not only in front of my child, but in front of my girlfriend and my family. I told him that I wouldn't allow that kind of behavior in my home, and that I didn't want him to stay any longer, and that he would have to leave, and that I didn't want him coming back. He left. I was working on my yard 2 weeks after the fact. Alan came over looking for a spackle knife, claiming he had a job to do the following day, and he had left it at my home. He walked into my garage, looked for it, and I told him, Alan, it's not here, and you don't belong here. I want you to leave. Jonathan and Alan do not get along. They've had many an argument about anything and everything. I told Alan to leave, and with that he said he would, and he walked to the end of the driveway, and I heard his car start, and I went back to my gardening. When I heard my son screaming, I turned around, and Alan had him by the neck in front of his car, smacking his head with the license plate, yelling at him to fix it. He kept on saying, fix it, fix it.
He was smacking him in the head with the license plate?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I ran over. I got between them. I grabbed Alan away from my son. He let go of my son, who ran into the house. Alan stood up because he was bent down, pushed me, and I fell. As Jonathan ran into the house, he walked over to the quad, which was right in front of his car, picked it up from the front, and rolled it 180 degrees, shouting, see how you like it now, to Jonathan. Joanne, my girlfriend, and the children were screaming. She went into the house. A couple seconds later, my son Andrew came running out. In my defense, picked up a shovel, swung it, and I managed to get onto my feet before he hit Alan in the head, and he hit the car. With that, the police came, Alan left, and that's the story.
What?
I called the cops, and it wasn't my dad's girlfriend. I'm the one. Because when he hit me, I ran in hysterical crying, and I called the cops.
Why did you back your quad into his car?
He was pushing me with the car, thinking he was funny.
He was pushing you?
Yeah, and my quad was going up. The quad fell, and I didn't want to start, so I put it in reverse, and the license plate cranked off. He got out of the car, took me by the neck, and smashed my head against the thing. Fix it, fix it, fix it. How would I be able to fix it if he's hitting me and doing what he was doing?
Why did you come over to where his car was?
I was riding the quad.
I understand that. You were riding the quad, but if you didn't get along with him, why did you come over to where his car was?
Because before the fact, I was washing the quad, and I put it on the side to dry. But then after it dried, I took it out for another ride.
Don't make stories. Answer my question. I said, if you don't get along with him, why did you go near his car?
I don't know.
That's a better answer. Now, I'm not making an excuse for him. He's bigger, he's older, and he's got a temper problem. So I have to determine whether the older son, that's you, was acting in defense of both his brother and his father when he hit your car with a shovel. And I find that he did and was acting in defense to get you to leave the property because at that time you were trespassing on his property. The moment he told you to leave, that you were not welcome there anymore, you were no longer an invited guest. You had absolutely no right to put your hands on a 12-year-old for any reason whatsoever, whether I believe that you just put your hand on his shoulder or that you smashed him with the license plate. He wasn't injured. but frightened because of your size, your bulk, your age, your anger, all of those things. You're bigger, you're heavier, you're older, and you're angry. And he may be a smart alecky 12-year-old, but you're supposed to be able to maintain your temper. Okay.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Sure.
The police came over to my house. I was going to have his son arrested for criminal mischief. His father starts panting and starts stomping his feet and saying, no, no, no. Then I want him arrested for grabbing my son.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Absolutely right. There is a difference between property damage and putting your hands on someone else in anger. The police tried to resolve this dispute between two people that knew each other. That's not what we're here for. I'm not trying to resolve your dispute amicably. I'm here to rule on it. And I'm ruling, sir, that you had absolutely no right to put your hands on a 12-year-old. And anything that flowed from that is your responsibility, including fixing your car. Put your hand down. So, and if it's her car, your girlfriend's car, fix it. He's got a temper. Is that right?
Yeah.
Good. So you gave someone with a temper permission to drive your car. You knew his temper, you knew the car, you put those two things together?
But, Your Honor, it's illegal in New York to drive a quad in the street.
I don't care. That has nothing to do with this. It has absolutely nothing to do with this. What it has to do with is his temper. And he had no right to put his hands on somebody else's child or anybody else as a result of, let us call it, a traffic accident. Can't do that. And anything that flows from that, you deal with it. Now let's get to the quad. The quad was damaged. You got to pay for that. You did it on purpose. You did it out of anger. How much did it cost to fix it?
I have two estimates here.
Cheapest one is $1,005.15. Is that right?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay. You have a lot of other things in your counterclaim, harassment and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
You intend to pursue that?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead.
First off, the harassment happened after, obviously, after this incident, where he called my son, Jonathan, several times on the telephone, telling him that...
Now, don't tell me what he told Jonathan. Did you receive phone calls from him?
Did I personally?
No, Jonathan.
Did I?
Oh,
Yes,
you're
I
Jonathan.
did. Would you like me to explain?
Yeah.
All right. He called me up like several times, asking me for money, and who am I? Who's he asking me for money when he should?
Just tell me what he said to you.
He's like, I want my money. I want my car fixed, and he was like yelling at me and cursing me out.
How many times? Yes.
When I called him up, I had him on speakerphone. My fiance was standing right there. I did not curse at him. I did not yell at him. I said, what's wrong with the quad so we can resolve this out of court? He said the handlebars and the throttle and the light in the front of the quad was damaged. That was all. I was like, Jonathan, thanks for being honest with me. And I was very polite, and we were on the phone for a half an hour talking. I was like, listen, when your father gets an estimate for your quad, we can deduct it off of each other's estimates. And I was like, just let your father know that, and that was it, and we hung up.
How many times did you call him?
Just once, Your Honor. And then that Thursday, I called the father, also on speakerphone. She was right there.
Okay,
He said
so-
everything was wrong with the quad.
Just a second. This was all about this lawsuit. All right, it's not harassment. What else?
Came into my office at work the following day, walked into my office, threw papers down, told me that if I wasn't willing to pay for the damage on his car, he was going to have my son arrested.
That's not harassment.
As he walked out, he had a soda can in his hand. He threw it at my front window.
Nasty. He's got a temper. You gotta maintain your temper, so you're gonna be a father. If you need anger management, if you need medication, go and get it.
No, I don't.
What do you mean you don't?
Because his sons are animals. I'm to go over his house.
Listen to me, sir.
Excuse me?
Listen to me, sir.
Right.
Your girlfriend says you have a temper.
That's true, in somewhat.
No. If you have a temper, it's not in some way, because you had a temper with regard to your girlfriend, which is why you were asked to leave their home. Now, if you can't control yourself with your girlfriend in front of strangers, I have a concern that when you're alone with her, you find it very difficult to control your temper if you get angry.
I just start yelling.
Yelling with a person of your size and girth can be very frightening. But you certainly did more than yelling to him. You put your hands on him. You cannot do that. And I'm going to tell you something. Temper has the ability to escalate. So I would take care of it while you're still young enough and while you still don't have a baby yet. Babies don't like to be yelled at. They don't like to have somebody's hands put on them in anger. So I would take care of that problem. If you believe that you may have a problem, I take care of it now. You owe him $1,005.15 to fix Your temper. That's all.
Yes, case number 125 on the calendar in the matter of Sconce versus Hogan. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Mr. Sconce, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were engaged to be married. You purchased a wedding ring and engagement set for her. You purchased it from her father.
Yes.
You paid how much for it?
$2,500 cash.
Who is this?
That's my father.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Step up. Your last name is Hogan?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he purchase a wedding set from you?
Yes, he did.
For how much?
$2,000.
Okay. Where did you get the wedding set from?
They were from my ex-wife.
Now, the engagement and the wedding was called off,
Yes.
and since you say you took this wedding set to have it appraised, and it was appraised at $4,000, you want $4,000.
Between $4,000 and $4,500, yes.
So you want between $4,000 and
And
$4,500.
I do have the paperwork for that, too.
I don't care about the paper.
Okay.
You don't get the appraised value of it, sir.
For insurance and stuff you did.
You don't get the appraised value of it, sir.
Okay.
You get what you paid for it if she, as she says, she sold it because she needed the cash. I don't know if I believe that, but that's what she says. I'll get to you in a minute. So I don't care what it was appraised at. You spent $2,000 for it unless you can establish to me that you spent $2,500.
I have a check, the canceled check, showing what it was written for and the amount.
Let me see.
But it's not made out to him, it's made out to cash, because that's what he deals in.
Okay. Says $2,500.
No, ma'am.
Did he give you $2,500? Did you give him any money back?
He gave me $2,000 cash and $100 bills, and that's what I asked for from the beginning.
Okay. Who cashed this check?
I did, before I went to Hesperia.
Okay, I'm just looking at it. I was
Okay.
going to ask whose account number it
That
is.
was our joint account at the time.
Oh, okay. Where's the ring?
I sold it back to my father.
You sold it back to your father.
Yes, I did.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the ring?
I have sold it since, too.
I don't believe any of you. I mean, I don't believe you. You want the value of the ring. I don't believe you that it was $2,500. I believe it was $2,000. I believe you cashed your own check and gave him $2,000.
Okay.
And you said you sold it, and you left out that you sold it back to your father.
Yes, I did.
How long had you had this ring, by the way, this ring set?
A year.
And when did your daughter sell it back to you?
She sold it back to me probably 3 weeks after they split up.
Mm-hmm. And how much after that did you sell it to somebody?
To somebody else, $800.
How much after that did you sell it to somebody else?
$800.
How much after that did you sell it? Excuse me.
Oh,
How long after that?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Did you sell it to somebody else?
A month.
Who did you sell it to?
Don't know the person's name.
See how I don't believe you? Doesn't make any difference for the purposes of his lawsuit. He gets $2,000 back because he had no basis to sell his ring. So that takes care of your case. Nice and easy. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Let me hear.
Okay, after we split up, he continued to use my credit cards. I found out he had been hiding bills from me. I found out that he had been using that. He forged my name on several documents.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
You had credit cards that you let him use while you were together?
No. He never had permission to use it, but he was hiding the statements from me and
Show
paying
me.
the checks.
Show me.
Here.
I have the statements here with all the U-Haul charges on there.
And I've got proof that she got the credits back right here. It's an account history of our joint storage room, and it has the dates.
I've
It has
never
the
been
dates
credited
of February.
back.
She didn't leave until the end of March. So
I don't know what you're talking about. First thing, you say U-Haul it? What is it?
U-Haul is like
company.
a storage center. It's a moving center.
Okay. Did you have property in storage?
No.
not anymore. She doesn't.
No, I never had anything. Everything I had was closed.
Don't speak to her.
I never had anything in storage.
Let me see what you have.
I have the credit card statements, and I also have where he forged my signature on his storage unit with my credit card number because I had paid for a moving van when we lost our house for our apartment.
I didn't forge any signatures. She put this credit card on as a joint storage room. I have the dates. We were still together when this was started. When she left, she didn't inform me that she was canceling this and getting the credits back. I almost sold my stuff on a lien sale. And I have the 3 reversals to her card here. She's already gotten her money back.
Let me see.
It shows that it's been reversed. So She's gotten her money back.
Just a second. I have reversed credit. Did you get your money back?
No, they have
Well,
not. Nothing is credited to my account.
That was due.
And he
It's not going to
continues.
post yet, is my point.
Well, you better wait for another month. List looks like they reversed payment on all of these credits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What else?
I have car damage that he did on New Year's Eve that I paid for.
Your dad's father. Sorry.
I put it on my father's credit
Just
card.
a second. Wait. New Year's Eve, 2000.
Yes.
Right. Go ahead. Tell me what happened.
He was backing out of our driveway and hit a parked car.
Yes.
And he did damage to my car, and I ended up paying for it. I had to put it on my father's credit card, and I paid my father back the next day.
Okay. So let me see. Did you have an agreement with him? By the way, when did you separate? Give me the date that you
End of
separated.
March.
I'm not speaking to you.
Sorry.
We split up April 1st, and I moved out the 2nd.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Scott says his ex-fiancée, Vanessa Hogan, refuses to return his engagement ring. Vanessa says Michael is abusive, an alcoholic, and a gambler.
So what happened between December and April?
Well, throughout the whole relationship, he was...
I don't care about the whole relationship. What happened between December and April?
Between our relationship?
No, I'm talking about what happened with this car. Did he say, I'll take care of the bill?
Well, yeah, he said I'd take care of it, and I'll take care of it, and I got in a car accident, and at that place, another car accident. So while
Who got into another car?
I did. Somebody hit me on the other side, so I had the car fixed, and while
Just a second. Did you have the car fixed after the first accident or after the second?
After the second.
So you didn't have the car fixed after he got into this, after he
No,
backed
I
into
had
something?
to fix it during the time they were fixing the other damages.
So just a second. So what are you showing me?
That's the damages that he did.
How do I know that? Repairs, 338.27.
And there's the pictures.
Your Honor, if I might.
Just a second. There is no way that this car was fixed for $338
That
if he
was the
backed
price.
into something. $338? That's a $2,000 job if I
That
ever
is
saw
not.
one.
That is one door.
That 338?
Well, then I got ripped off.
No, you didn't get ripped off.
got a good deal.
That would be a bargain to fix this for $338.
Well, then I got a good deal.
All right. What else? Come on.
I have
Let's
the
go.
lease that I had to continue paying for after he moved out, and he's listed as an occupant on there.
Just
And
a second. Just a second. You moved out.
I moved out.
Just a minute. You moved out.
Right, but I was still financially responsible for it because my name was listed on there. But he
So
was
why
listed-
didn't you take care of it before you moved out?
We tried to make it civil, and he said he was going to pay for it, and he didn't.
Just a second. You moved out on April 1st.
Yes.
Why?
Because he has a gambling problem. He's abusive. He does drugs.
Right.
Excuse?
Shh. Hey.
He had no job.
Yes.
He lost his house.
So why didn't you stay in the apartment and tell him to
Because
move?
he knew where it was, and he had threatened to kill me. So that's why I got the restraining order.
Where are you living now?
I'm living in Las Vegas with some other people across town, and I'm still paying for the apartment.
Is he living there?
No.
So? Neither
He's
of you are
listed on
living
the
there.
lease.
What?
But he's listed on the lease as an occupant.
He's the occupant. You're the lessee.
Okay.
So?
Okay.
You moved out. You have to take care of your business.
Okay.
What else?
Airline tickets that we put on our honeymoon that I don't know if he used the tickets or not, but they were e-tickets. They're non-transfundable, non-refundable.
Okay. Honeymoon tickets. Where were you supposed to go on your honeymoon?
Minnesota to visit his dying uncle.
And you had 2 tickets? That's so honeymoon. Minnesota.
Yes.
Did you go and visit your uncle in Minnesota?
No, my nephew passed away in Missouri during that time.
Oh, okay.
And I was there.
All right. Is that where you were supposed to go on after you got married to Minnesota?
Yes, we were.
What happened to those tickets?
I have no idea.
How much were the cost of both of those tickets?
$397.90.
Who
Yes.
paid for them?
I did.
Apparently, Vanessa Hogan did. 'Cause
Okay.
This was left in our bill box.
So apparently she paid for them.
And yeah, it was under her name and everything.
Okay, so you're responsible for half of that, right? Yes.
If I didn't end the marriage, sure.
Whoever ended it, doesn't make any difference. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's why you get your rings back.
Can I explain why it didn't work out?
No.
Okay.
You are entitled to the rings back because the wedding never took place. I find that I believe that you paid $2,000 for the rings. I don't believe them that they sold them. I don't believe that, but whatever it is, she didn't give them back to you. She says she doesn't have them. I can't order her to return something she says she doesn't have, so you are entitled to your $2,000 back, less the $198 for one half of the plane tickets to your honeymoon of your dreams to visit your dying uncle in Minnesota. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,802.
Thank you.
I did not excuse you. May step out.
I was roofing her father's house, the gentleman that was in court. While I was down in Hesperia doing that, she was in bed with another man. That's what really ended it.
He was abusive, and he did drugs, and he had a gambling problem, so pretty much all those three combined.
She's fabricated a bunch of lies.
I'm just glad it's over with. I don't have to deal with them anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Vanderskoff versus Samuelian, step forward.
19-year-old network operations technician Tiffany Vanderskoff is suing her former friend, 20-year-old college student John Samuelian, for half of the hotel cost during their trip to London.
Ms. Vanderskoff, you claim in your papers that the defendant owes you for the cost of half of the hotels on a London trip that you took together. He did pay for his own plane ticket. You said there was an agreement that he paid for half of the hotels, which you put on your credit card. So tell me about it. When did you decide to take this trip?
In November of 2000, John and I agreed to take a trip to London in February, from February 9th to the 14th. We agreed that he would pay for his airfare and that we would split the cost of the hotel. We had to bounce around a few hotels because the first one that we stayed in was too costly. So we ended up going to a cab and saying, hey, can you take us to a Holiday Inn? Because we figured a Holiday Inn would be cheaper, you know, but of course in London it was much more expensive. So we only stayed there for one night. And then we were walking around Piccadilly Circus and we found this hotel, and it was for £79 a night. So we stayed there the last 3 nights. Throughout the whole trip, John reassured me that he would pay me for half of the cost.
I object to that, Your Honor. Apologize.
And he didn't?
No, he didn't. 4 months later, I'm like, John, will you please pay me back
How
money?
much were all the hotels?
Total, it was like $900.
You have the receipts?
Yeah, I have credit card logs.
Okay, let me just take a quick look at them.
They're highlighted, and there's one on the second page.
Okay.
He told me that he had a money order that he had written out, and he said he gave it to his mom. And he said, okay, my mom's going to mail this to you tonight. 2 weeks later, I never got anything, and that's when I kind of knew that I wasn't going to get any money.
That's not true.
Didn't you think that I was going to get to you?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So, now let me hear you.
Well, my account, her recount of the London tale is fairly accurate.
Try looking at me.
With the exception that the agreement was not that I pay her back, that it would be a gift. If I can,
tell me. That's what you... Shh, don't interrupt him.
Sorry.
If I could expound on the relationship, perhaps give more credibility to my case. When I first, Ms. Vanderskoff replied to a AOL personal I had, most of the conversation evolved around computers because that's her profession. She's a computer programmer. And most of this centered on the fact that she had quite a lofty responsibility for someone of her age. At 18, she was financially independent.
Get to it.
Get to the point. Okay. Within 2 dates, she took me out to the Ritz, another restaurant likewise, and then on their 3rd date, she let me drive her brand new BMW. Then she decided to contact me a 4th time to go to London. Now, I said, we can pay the airfare, I can do that, no problem, but I object to staying at such expensive hotels. I want to go to London, she wanted to do London.
Try looking at me.
I'm sorry.
And go slow.
I'm slightly nervous.
I'm not nervous, so go slower.
I've traveled the world. She informed me that she wanted me to go as a travel companion because I have reasonable traveling experience. I suggested we stay in youth hostels because cheaper, better to stay at, just more fun generally, especially if you're of young age. And they're extraordinarily cheap. Now, I said this is within my budget. I'm a college student. At the time, I was unemployed, living off my parents.
Listen, don't editorialize. You suggested you stay at youth hostels. Mm-hmm. Okay, because that's what you could afford.
Exactly.
Is that what you said to her?
Yes.
They're much cheaper.
Yes.
And what did she say to you?
Categorically rejected. She was
No, I want you to tell me what she said to you.
She heard that a rumor that London youth hostels were revolting, disgusting, and just horrible.
And then what did you say?
And so I said, well, from my experience, I've traveled, I've studied youth hostels quite extensively, and it's normally about a college dorm. So
look at me.
We made this. So she decided that. Well, if this is too much for you to afford, then don't worry about the hotels. We'll go.
You go to London and you get to the first hotel. How much was that hotel?
First hotel was in the range of 126 pounds.
126 pounds, which translates into what in U.S. dollars?
It's about 50% more. So it's, about close to $100. Now,
I didn't ask you a question.
Sorry.
Tell me about the check-in process when you discovered that the hotel was too expensive.
Well, all the bookings, reservations were made on the assumption that the pound equated $1. Ms. Vanderskoff did not realize that there was an exchange difference.
So she discussed that with you?
She discussed making reservations, yes.
Oh, well, she evidently discussed making more than just reservations because you say she assumed that it was the same exchange rate, dollar for dollar. So you must have had that conversation before you left.
We definitely discussed it.
Oh, okay.
What?
So I'm speaking.
Sorry.
So you discussed the price of the hotels that were being booked, or at least the first night. You discussed the price. Yes or no?
We did discuss the price, yes.
Now, if you thought that this was all a gift from her, why would you discuss the cost of it?
The intention was that we would pay 50-50 initially. But when I made it clear that I could not afford her living standard, she made the gift offer.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You want to know why I don't believe you?
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that the first hotel that you went to was too expensive.
Yes.
At that point, if you believed that she was going to pay for all the hotels, why wouldn't you just say, I like this hotel?
It's expensive. I mean, it was an expensive trip. I didn't want to drive her broke. I felt guilty. I mean, we were just friends, and she's paying for it.
No, you had discussed with her paying 50-50 when you were going. And you suggested going to stay at youth hostels, and she said, I don't want to stay at youth hostels.
At that point, that's when I refused to go. That's when I said I would not be able to go to London if we could not stay in youth hostels.
When did you say this to her?
This took place all over AOL, Instant Messenger. This was all one conversation. And then she made the advance that she'd pay for it as a gift.
Show me.
There's no documentation on either side substantiating either claim.
Just a second. Don't tell me what's on her side. You can't fast dance around me. You just said to me initially there was an agreement that I would pay half of the hotels.
We had discussed the prospect of an agreement. We did not come to a conclusion.
I think you did. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $475. Thank you.